Uh-huh. So they didn't use the term Moors too much in the curriculum. Unless they were talking about the Crusades, the time of the Crusades. And when they went more towards more current history, and like now, this is like the late 80s to the early 90s, right? That I'm thinking, this time, particular time I'm thinking about. High school, Columbia High School. Use the term Moors, you talk about the Crusades, the Crusaders versus the Moors. And I remember being in class saying, oh, I'm a Moor, when they describe a general definition of what they mean by Moor. Oh, I'm a Moor then, okay. Because this is the Muslims at this point in time. This is post-Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So of course, you know, I went to Sister Cloud Muhammad School, so I know that. At that point in time, I knew a great deal about how that whole thing unfolded from the time of the prophet, under the guidance of the prophet that would get the prophet's approval. Okay. Now, when they started talking about post-emancipation proclamation, okay, they did speak about, in that time period right before that, they spoke about free blacks. They said there were free blacks that never were enslaved, that lived amongst the colonists and whatnot. And you know the Indian story about what, according to the school system, what dictated, what made a person an Indian. They lied, but they had a certain thing like a phenotype, and they said the Indians didn't grow facial hair. They had that fine straight hair, and they had like their Indian red toned skin, or lighter. That's what they said. So anyway, supposedly it was free black. They never used the term Moors then in reference to that time period. Colonization, nor and post-colonization. They stopped using that term. Right? Never even whispered a word about Noble Drew Ali, the prophet. Definitely didn't do that. So that's the most I had ever heard from the school system. Now, I've heard my older brother speak of Noble Drew Ali in hushed, respectful tones, a lot like the same tone they adopt when they spoke about other elders such as like Mother Wallace. These are people who had the reputation of, in Miami we say don't play the radio. They were the people you did not want to fool with. You did not want to get on their bad side. So, being that they were very studied, they were born in the nation, basically. Born into the Nation of Islam. My mother's first, he said he was, my father, they was outside the nation long enough for him to get like baptized in a Christian church, something like that. But soon, in his young years, which is like 2-3 years old, something like that, they got into the nation. So by the time I'm old enough to pick up on conversation and all that, which I was very fast learner. By the time I reached the 5th grade, the beginning of the 5th grade year, which is basically a 4th grade education. We at the beginning of the 5th grade year, they gave us some type of test, and the results came back that I was reading on a college level. So that was the 4th grade education. So I knew from what they learned in the nation, hearing them speak about that. My father, he used to have class in the house. The type of class they would have at the mosque, he would have class in the halls, and you would have FOI from out of town, from Detroit, New York, all over the place. One of them guys was the one who showed me the first time I ever saw this. I was very young. I'm like 4, between 3 and 5 years old. He said, give me 5 on the backhand side, in the hole, you got sold. I learned that at one of the classes. In one of those classes, it was wrapping it up and it was leaving, going to their cars with their briefcases, attache cases and all that. So anyway, there has been a discrepancy, whatnot, or really a question asked by several people. Ask questions like this, but this person is closer to me. I know in AA and NA, a lot of times they say the family is the last to find out. So it's like that a lot of time when you're talking about G code and real G's. You're dealing with real G's and G code. A lot of time it's gonna be like this on a need to know basis. And I've mentioned a few times in recent posts how I probably wouldn't even approach the game of music as an artist, but more so of a CFO if things had gone my way. Around the time when I first got off the porch and got tired of, hearing no and don't have the money and from what you hear from the parents and whatnot. So that started to play out, play all the way out, and the patience was all the way worn, about worn out. And I mentioned in recent posts in these active MOORS, more active, under that heading right there. I don't have but so many up there under that. Matter of fact, that's all I have on YouTube is active MOORS, more active. I came to YouTube with that. Facebook, my old Jamil Mackey page, is the Supreme Building and all that stuff. Swamp Funk DJs, which they took a lot of that down because most of that was live. I think all of that was live. So you ain't got too much Swamp Funk DJ when I'm really, really DJing. I used to be riding in the streets doing that. I was actually operating a motor vehicle while I was doing it. It'd be like the hours long. Sometimes sitting in the parking lot. The fewer times they were indoors, but most times I was in the car doing that, driving the car, maybe sitting still. I used to have the film, so some of you could see whether I was moving or not. And usually that would be me parked. And you could see just outside the car, whatever, that visual, like down the street from Rolex. That was one of the first, matter of fact, that's how I came back. I came back. I hadn't been doing anything since 70th Street, and that was more like screaming out Sugar Hill East Side and always talking about Uncle Al, because the area reminded me of Uncle Al, and Sugar Hill was actually right up the street, right up 71st. I was on 70th by Northwestern, 8th Ave. Sugar Hill right there on 15th, about 14, 15 up in there, 13, 14, 15 up in there, right? And so it reminded me of Uncle Al so much I didn't have the heart, because I was supposed to be doing gangster shit. And I didn't have the heart. And Uncle Dent had just got killed down south, and it was a Miami nigga did it. So it was a Miami City versus down south type thing, which really always make me feel a bad way, because we really not supposed to be doing that like that. I was growing up, matter of fact, who that was? Was it Slick Vic? Man, I watched both of them this earlier. Slick Vic, I think that was Slick Vic. If it wasn't Slick Vic, because I watched Percival Marshall, Bo the Lover. It was Bo the Lover them or Slick Vic, Jam Pony. It was Pure Funk or Jam Pony talking about how, it might have been Pure Funk. They were talking about how the DJ game, Miami Style DJ, opened up the whole of Miami to a lot of Miami DJ who otherwise couldn't even go in a lot of places because they was very territorial. But my upbringing in Miami was different because I was always with my old boy. That generation, they don't subscribe to that shit. that's more like my generation. You know, and you had my generation had a lot of latchkey kid, Jerry kid, fatherless home type of thing. So you got that generation gap thing going on. You know, maybe single female headed household type of thing. And, you know, you fall victim in a lot of stuff. I wouldn't even call it street. You know, that's just that generation, man. That really like the 80s, when it really got bad in the 80s. Even though gangs go back to the 70s and the 60s and beyond, but the to the extreme that it went to the 80s, that was unprecedented. To the point you're not safe at a wake or a funeral, get shot up. The perpetrator's probably first, second, third cousin. I'm gonna tell you, it got that bad. So I never fell off into that. It was never a place I couldn't go, because first of all, respect due to a dog. A lot of root causes of the conflict, the guys are too quick to escalate. Come from a look, a tone of voice, and that could be irreconcilable right there. A certain look on your face, a tone of voice. Don't nobody want to have that neutral, passive, respectful. Yeah, how you doing? What's happening? You know, like that. And meantime, all the older street players, that's how they vibe. The funk, the soul, the doo-wop crowd and all that. They not doing all that. Those are the younger guys. Definitely the 80s. Now I hear them saying, yeah, we, but still, who is we? Because that generation, everybody from your generation, like put it like that, your class of what? What class you graduated from your high school? Okay? So everybody from the class of let's say, the early 80s and on back to the 70s, everybody don't act like that. And I was around primarily because my parents had to dictate where they would let a 2-year-old, 4-year-old go out of their hands and leave me with some, or take me around somebody, right? I was primarily around civil service people. That'd be hospital, stuff like that, nurses and doctors and all that, police, primarily military. Definitely blood relative. But even amongst the blood relative, I noticed my father, I never really paid much attention to it at the beginning. I noticed it, but I ain't pay a lot of attention. But when I look back, I noticed he really singled out those who had military backgrounds in the family. And of course, anybody that wasn't blood that he knew some kind of way, probably high school, college, and stuff like that, if it wasn't met on a military base somewhere, active duty and all that. So my old boy was one of the few people in the family, and we met a few other people like him. When everybody else started running out of stuff to say, and they talking about relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, him and a few others would be the last ones still going beyond what everybody can remember here about who's related to who. And my father could meet somebody they never met before. They don't remember, he don't remember that particular person. And he could be like, oh, where you from? What's your mama name? What's your daddy name? Before you know it, he got their whole family tree. And the person like, yeah, you know that, yeah. I seen him do it too many times. And when you get around people that they already know each other and all that, they'll start building beyond what the majority of the adults know that are there. And mind you, this is coming from a time period when families were way more close-knit, especially in the South. They were way more close-knit. There was a lot of land still in the family, like farmland and stuff like that, and whatnot. A lot of houses still in the family. All that foreclosed, no, not even foreclosed. No, you can't foreclose on the house that's paid for. So that'll be like selling of a house that you was bequeathed to you, or maybe you and some other, and y'all sit down and y'all say, well, what we go, and they decide to sell and divide the money. Sometimes the deceased person will single out a person and leave it to that one person. And that one person might not share that house with siblings and nieces and nephews, stuff like that, or they might sell it. Same thing with land. So as you go into my year, I was born in 73. 73, that'd be early 70s, mid 70s, late 70s, early 80s. We had a lot of land and house stuff still in the family. So in general, the black community was more of a community, more toward clannish and tribal, right? You had less of a generation gap and all that. So I never went somewhere and fell into that well, especially Miami. Like north of Vizcaya, south of county line, especially Miami. I never went somewhere and it was like, okay, you can't be in Overtown. You can't be in Brownsville. You can't be in Clown City. Wynwood had more, and Alapata had more blacks back in the day. You can't be in what they call Little Haiti, what they call the Design District, right? I guess they'll consider that Wynwood too. That the Puerto Rican part just south of Little Haiti, like around about 36, 37, 38. There was a lot of Puerto Ricans down there around about Northwest 2nd Avenue back in the day. Clemente Park back in the day was a whole lot of Puerto Ricans. So it was time before it was a lot more black. Because one of the first things that came over here when they stopped that, you go back to when it was a time, it was a black side and a white side, predominantly. And they treated a lot of islands where you spoke Spanish or anything like that as like black, right? Especially if you ain't got no money. So anyway, when they call it white flight, when whites start moving out of the areas on I think it's the east side of 12th Avenue, Northwest 12th Avenue, and the blacks start moving in, and then you had a lot of other areas with black, because the thing about it, to engineer South Florida, you had to have blacks all the way, because blacks was the one doing the work to actually build the damn house and whatnot. And the work was done before you had a lot of things like all that big shit, bulldozers and cranes and all that shit. A lot of that shit was back-breaking work with spades and wheelbarrows and smaller things that wasn't powered and gasoline operated, battery powered and all that, right? So anyway, a lot of manual work, skill set. And one thing I heard from like Woodrow King and a lot of the older blacks who were from that era, they say that the blacks advised the cracker. A lot of times the cracker might be the foreman or the one that's financing a lot of stuff. And they had the final say, but they didn't have the skill. They didn't have the hands-on skills. And a lot of blacks advised them against certain building materials and styles in architectural design because of the climate and the materials they were using. They wouldn't listen. That's why so much stuff they trying to save as historical and all that. You can get a historical designation to save a building from demolition, but the problem is the building is now unsafe for human habitation. It could fall down. They didn't build it right in the first place. And a lot of blacks told them that in the beginning. They wouldn't listen. They overrode better judgment, and this is what we end up with. So a lot of things built in the 30s. You go look at the plan, the city, whatever you call that shit, the city code or whatever they tell you when a particular address, that building, that particular address, when it was erected, what additions was placed on it, and those type of things. So you got things go back to the 30s and definitely something younger than that, 40s, 50s, or like that. So my father and his cousins and all them distant cousins, they built a lot of that shit, right? And if you look at a lot of buildings, you can tell a lot of them ain't have much renovations done to them. You might have interior design, but the actual blueprint, square footage per room and da-da-da-da-da, how many floors and all that, a lot of this stuff, if you see it now, is newer, and it's a situation where they destroyed the whole house and started over. They started to do that more the last like 5 years. It started accelerating. What they call that BlackRock, one of the companies that's buying up a lot of real estate, right? Anyway, so I'm an old soul, but my family kept me around elders like they do most children. You know, you don't let little small children be around children of a certain age group. You don't let them be around them. They got to be older, 14, 15, babysitter age. Then you got the older brothers and sisters and younger uncles and aunts. And then you got the parents, and then you got the grandparents and great-grands and all that. So I soaked up a lot from being around them. But what I noticed one thing, and I'm in a nation too. So not only they have a strong family bond regardless of the religious orientation or spiritual orientation, you also got that Nation Islam influence that's gonna come and just solidify that. So most black men were pretty much on the same when it came to not being like how niggas got to be in the 80s. See, that's like riffraff, misfits and whatnot. Any real man, when you go back to like Scared Straight, that was on TV. They come on TV and all. Sometimes they'll come to you in live in person. Don't have to be filming. Maybe they filming or not. Scared Straight. Well, older men who been to the joint, to the penitentiary and all that, will talk to the youth and tell them, well, learn from my mistakes. Sometimes they'll say, well, I was a hard head, I wouldn't listen. Sometimes they'll say, nobody told me. Mama, I was born in a whorehouse. I was born in the slums, da-da-da-da-da, whatever. And all I seen was da-da-da. Then some of them say, well, I knew better, but I ran out into the street around people like him. And they have something to tell you, right? But one thing about them men, majority of them was really men. They didn't lose a lot of their man. It's a lot that makes a man a man. It's not just genetic inheritance of your reproductive organs. See, we're talking about the mindset that somebody would say, well, you're no longer a minor, you're an adult. And most of them guys born in the 60s and on back, they were very, very, very mature compared to a lot of guys born in the 70s. Oh, definitely. You had some old food, but from the 70s on, it's gonna be a problem. And you're gonna have more guys that just ain't man enough. Not necessarily homosexual, but a man comes with criteria. It's a lot of responsibility placed on the man. Some of it is unisex, but a man traditionally has certain roles that we kind of don't want the woman to get into all of that. So as a leader, a head of a household, even if you go to the matriarchal systems, the woman may be the heir, but she's a woman. So she has inherited way too much to leave to not only to her, but to women in general in that clan and that tribe. Because the women's list of things to do things is hella. So it's gonna be some stuff for the man to do. You know, we out there in the wilderness with the wolves, the pumas and all that kind of thing. Man, a puma cat, a mountain lion can jump like 17 feet without running. A vert, like a Michael Jordan, a vert from just like 17 feet easy. And as you go back in time, all the animals were bigger and bigger and bigger, stronger, faster and faster. So you got that to worry about reptiles that are carnivores and predators, apex predators. You got the mammals, like the big cats, the big canine, the wolves, the coyotes and whatnot, you know, and you got the terrain, you got the weather. It's a lot of things can happen out there in the field. So you put that on the man, right? And the woman did things that are less strenuous. It's gonna work you. You're definitely gonna be fine as hell, sweating and stuff and doing all that, getting your cardio and weight resistance, lugging water and this and that, things that got enough weight on it to give you a fit, healthy thing about yourself, but not enough to injure a fetus developing in the womb and things like that, right? Not anything that you might get caught up out there in a wolf pack or something like that, right? So the man has a way about him. He also has duties. Pre-colonization, we had things like a century, or you might have to do warrior things and stuff like that. Even though, like, you know, you talk about the Comanche. I was reading about some Comanche like earlier, some hours ago, how the Comanche women were very warlike. But a lot of times, that would be with prisoners of war that fell into their hands, not so much the battlefield. So even some of our fiercest warriors, the majority of them, we still would keep them closer to home. And the man had to stand. So now, when you get into war, which is what this is, the motu proprio from Pope Francis admits that not only is this a war and we have silent wars, most of the wars that have been conducted by the colonists, right, who set up or were complicit in setting up these corporate war nation states, right? They were part of that setup and began to be put in place as administrators, really what it is. In the prisoner of war camps, which we call schools and churches, they began to not tell us the fact they were just administrators and that we were the heirs, that we really are. What's that ad queen? It's Katani Hatapushik Nitakomi, Queen of Loctician from Harlem. The Integrity Act. Look that up. The Integrity Act or the Indian Integrity Act. Google that. So it came a time when not only they wouldn't tell us, but because they couldn't erase it from our memory, from our culture fast enough, they illegalized it. They can't outlaw it. They can't touch law. Law is not theirs, that's ours. All law, supreme law of the land, which still stands. They manipulate and play with that, with their legalities and whatnot, decrees, ordinances, and whatnot. And our ignorance of all law, supreme law of the land is one of the main things, coupled with the fact that their stance is you and what army. They won't allow us to form an organized militia, army. At this point, you need a military. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine. And a good majority of our soldiers, would-be soldiers, actually work for the U.S. military anyway. They finesse them off into the barracks, onto the forts, by starving them out. Not just food, of culture, period. Yet your body, your physical makeup demands to be provided for by way of culture. So now you have this subculture, which is school, work, maybe entrepreneurialism, and military, just one of the many jobs, that they offer. And what makes the military so tempting to us is you don't need years and years and years of education and degrees and a lot of money, you can go broke with a GED. 18 years old, jump right in. First they're gonna have food, clothing, and shelter, just like that. You can meet somebody really nice, be married, just like that. Don't have to worry about everything your child gonna be provided for. These days, definitely education, job skills, trades, and you don't have to worry about food, clothing, shelter. The longer you stay, the less you have to worry about food, clothing, shelter. And your life, that ain't guaranteed to fuck with them. But food, clothing, and shelter. Not living under your parents' roof and grandparents' roof. You gotta worry about that. If you're one of them people that very perturbed about how the neighborhood, the hoods are from a poor background too, you ain't gotta go back. You can be career military. Because you got a lot of people who left the military miserable in civilian life. So-called minorities, even poor white trash, miserable with civilian life. They don't respect veterans until you accomplish certain things, making a certain amount of money, had a certain rank in the military. Yeah, possibly. Still got other little things like what nationality or ethnicity and all that. But for the average guy, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, some comeback, man, shoot. And that GI Bill ain't really all that. So you come back and end up with Grand CHARTY talking about marching, rallies, probably a workers' union. They undermine all that shit. And it's not really getting you anywhere because they are playing games with our isonomy and our lack of knowledge of how to apply. We can't apply what we don't know. If you knew better, you'd do better. But then you come full circle to the same thing, like I argue with all these Moors talking this slick shit. First of all, when Palacio and that Pope, I still ain't went back to see what that Pope name was. The Pope that dictated to Palacio on the bulla, right? Dealing with the Western Hemisphere. They had turned their sights to the Western Hemisphere. When they contrived to come over here and had the nerve, some of the first early explorers, I think Christopher Colomb, even went through the Bermuda Triangle area. They had that much nerve. Of all the places in the Western Hemisphere, they traveled through, they went around the Bermuda Triangle area. Now mind you, we got Vodun and all that kind of stuff over here too. And of all the places, the physical geographic location, they went in the area of Bermuda Triangle. That's not too far from Bahamas, which is one of the first islands they landed on. They got nerve coming over here with an itinerary like that. And now you say itinerary, I think it is. Like that. They got plans like that. And had the nerve to cruise through the Bermuda Triangle with whole planes and ships known to just come up missing with radar, supposedly sophisticated tracking devices, cannot find hide nor hair, not a screw, not a plank, not anything connected to that particular vessel that's got a charter. If they can find it, they can tell you what, but they can't find it. They went through there. Right? Now, in this time period, you didn't need Noble Drew Ali. They know more than Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali had to study and find out what his heritage was. According to the lit in Almighty Black P. Stone, Timothy Drew used to be in the circus at one point. I don't think he would have been in the circus. I don't think so. I could be wrong. If he knew he was the prophet at the time and knew all the stuff he came to come teach us, around like 1913, most definitely. He set up the temples and and started teaching, went public, like they say, went public. I don't think he was born, well, not born, but I don't think he was like 5 and 10 years old knowing all that stuff. I don't think so. But at the same time, it's a lot of stuff he does know. And the average person knows because they had not quite eradicated the environment of a lot of knowledge that came back from ancient times. They were still kind of trying to get it right, and they didn't even do the Jekyll Island thing until around about 1913 when he went public. Around about the same time when they do the fiat Federal Reserve trick. You had the, 1913? Okay. Somewhere between 1861 and 1913, I can't remember when, they gonna do the House Joint Resolution 192, I think. Illegalizing the right to demand gold and recompense when you bartering and trading, doing business and Plus they owe gold, bullion, gold brick, in taxes to Morocco. Now, the fake Morocco over there on the continent called Africa is not Morocco. That was, you can Google that, that was established in what, 1940 something, I think? I don't even think that was the 1800s. I think it was 1900 and something. Just like Israel, that wasn't established in the 1940s after what happened in Germany. Right? So the Morocco, when you get the maps that are flipped supposedly upside down, which really right side up. So you would see America, coming from our standpoint, school, America and South America, Central America be above America. South America be above, and America be at the bottom, and Alaska them will be at the bottom. Now on those maps, you see Morocco over here in the Western Hemisphere. So many of us are not even qualified to go to the International War Court and sit down and hammer out what are we going to do from here on out in the reset in the Republic. We don't know enough. We are victims of the Frederick T. Gates, John D. Rockefeller educational system prisoner of war camp. We screwed. We got to go back to school and become erudite. Meantime, those that are, we can look over their shoulder and listen to what they're saying, run and do the cross reference, and be brought up to speed to make sure they're not getting over on us, because the whole while the fraud has been on both sides, and you did have a contingency of Moors from the Western Hemisphere that helped them do exactly what they did do over the last like 500 years or so. So we gotta have a government of the people, for the people, by the people. Ignorance of the law does not make you exempt from the law. And in this case, in our case, we can't be ignorant of history, true, accurate history. Because in that, you're going to find the laws and all that, versus legalities, codes, ordinances, all that stuff that Pope Francis admitted in the motu proprio was wrong. It's in violation of international war court and da-da-da-da-da. So now, bringing it back to what I was saying about as a young adolescent into preteen years, it's when the violence started to get to the point where they're going to start saying black on black crime. Senseless killings, all that there. So now, I never fell victim to that mindset of, oh, you from this side of town. No. I got family all over this motherfucker. We had on my matriarchal side, because my patriarchal family reunions, the ones we attended was smaller, right? Now my matriarchal side, that was senseless. They coming from the Carolinas, Tennessee, from Georgia, man, they come from all over. And boy, one time we was at a certain beach. I can't remember which one it was, Vero Beach, Jupiter Beach, or what. But somebody said, Jamil, they said, Jamil, that's such, and they'll tell you like, because on the shirt they'll have the family tree with the family names. So right when you thought you got it down, you said, okay, this is a family union, because you saw somebody with their tree and their names and stuff, or whatever, you will see a whole nother different shirt with none of the names on that shirt today, but that's a part of the family. So they came down for that particular, because they just so happened they had their family union, but now they was in vicinity of this other, but it's blood. There ain't no friendship. We talking about blood. And I looked up, and you might as well been watching a big stadium being entered or exited after or before the game. That's how many niggas you see. I'm talking about for 200-300 yard worth of niggas. And they telling you they coming from such and such family. That ain't everybody who was at there. No, that's the ones just came from there. Out of the ones who came out of town and didn't stay home and whatnot. And then you got the ones that was there, and they talking. You hear them talking. And a lot of the older men, what they would do, in my grandma's house, you'll see them going to the bathroom and say, well, I took a laxative because I want to go to the such and such family reunion, such and such family, and the food be good as hell. So they going about 5 or 6 family reunions within like 2-3 day period. And they'll eat, right? Wait a little minute, take a laxative, shit it all out. And be ready to eat just as much as they ate last time, again, within that little 24, 48, 72 hour period. And when it's all done, said and done, however long they stay, 3, 4, 5 days, when they going up the road, they still got a lot of food to take up the road, covered up and wrapped up and all that, going up the road. I said, man, these niggas a trip. But so that type of stuff there. Another example, my daddy would go to the Keys, right? Homestead, which is about the farthest south you're gonna go before you get to the Keys. And all up the road coming from down south before you get to like Vizcaya area, Brickell, Vizcaya area, Coconut Grove area. And we'll go all through Miami, all through, Dade, all through Broward. And he'll continue this shit all the way up Florida, along the line of the route we taking, 75 or 95, something like that. And we constantly stopping on people's houses. And if it ain't a family member, it's a close friend. But matter of fact, a lot of them family members started out as neighbors and friends, but became family because somebody got married. Shit like that. A lot of that happened too. Right? So he was born, there was some, it was family when he was born, and some later because of marriage. We doing this all up Florida, all up Georgia until we get to Atlanta. And sometimes we go to Tennessee, we do the same thing. All through North Georgia into Tennessee. Now with him, I never traveled through the Carolinas with him. I traveled through Carolina with other people. But that was him. And this all my life. And we did it more in my youth than when I got older. Because when we started talking, I touched on that, because that's what I was about to start with. I didn't want to jump right into that because it gives off ignorant vibes and BS vibes and all that. So I'm trying to put a little backstory to put some substance to this job. And some, put it in context. Because what's happening is a lot of this is institutionalized attacks, the silent wars, which is leading to the fact that you got single mother-headed household. Yeah, I did. I made some shorts. So from some of the longer videos, you got to be touching on this, and you got some shorts. So I'm gonna try not to go too much in that, because we got some reference on that. Coming up under the heading of active MOORS, more active. So all this type of job they doing, especially with the economy. What is the economy? I broke this down for Umar. He don't like to be called by his street name. So he likes to go by Umar, Moises or something like that. He accepted Islam and all that. But my dog, I broke economy down. And I said, my. And you break that down, when you go in the ecosystem, you talk about land, air, water, sea, which we inherited that by birthright. But they say no to that system. We are connected. Chief Rod said, I am Mississippi clay dirt walking. So you don't only possess that, you are that. Okay? Then they start talking about Pleiades and Lemuria and all that, but you are part of that, right? Start talking about before we had this rusty brown, we was green and amphibious and blah, blah, blah. But this is what makes you honor your will. The principal people. The honor your will is more attached to Cherokee, and I think it's because of the actual language that's used to say honor your will, because we had many diverse languages over here, not one language. So different tribes and clans may have different languages. So since the first settlers that did come to the East Coast, Plymouth Rock, Virginia and all that, they came across a limited amount of us as far as what clan, what tribe that was they were talking to. So that honor your will, and then down the line they play it off into Cherokee, which is really a bastardization or whatnot, adulteration of what we had going on over here when it comes to the honor your will people and where that really comes from, right? Many times it's a large tribe. It's a collection of, it's more like what the colonists call a large tribe, really like a confederation of tribes. And they don't like to go into that because it's too telling. The history is in the language, the truth is in the language, you know, and the truth is in the history, and they don't want you to know the truth. That's like giving up the game. They might as well just let it go. So our ignorance of that, it has a lot to do with our subjugation to the colonies. Now, it got so bad that the 80s was pretty much the beginning of HELL on Earth. Not hellish. That was about hell on Earth, right about the 80s. That's like hell on Earth. And you would say it got worse in the 90s. See, because it's a lot of components. It's not just the killing each other. It's a lot of jive going on. Crack did more damage than even heroin. Even though heroin, you got overdose, that's death. That's not good. But crack made with some of the most dysfunctional users. It caused so much dysfunctionality. Brother Wesley Muhammad, Brother Nuri Muhammad, Brother Ishmael Muhammad, they teach on the laboratory genius, evil genius, if you will, where they went and came up with chemicals to put in there that actually look for in the mind of a alpha male and alpha female. They studied the alpha male and alpha female amongst melanated people, which really where you're gonna find it from, because a cretin or cretin, however you want to pronounce that, really don't have much mental capacity any damn way. So when you talking looking for a mastermind, you talking about melanated people anyway. So they got a certain type of concoction of chemical combination that targets something that is more prevalent in the mind of an alpha male and alpha female. That when it gets in there, shit. it might be over. And if it's over for them, it's over for a lot of people to a certain degree. So now the beta male, that's not a user, hopefully not a user. The beta male, a crack, hopefully you don't know crack, but gonna complicate things now. A beta male, this military term, right? Alpha, beta, so I guess Charlie and Delta, Epsilon, whatever come behind that, right? Right? What the F would be? 5 something? F 5 for whatever. G gamma or something like that, right? Those who have a lesser mental capacity and physical and all that, especially them betas, and I would say Charlie and all that, because when you look, if you live through it, you know. If you know, you know. The first sign that really struck us was the ones we looked up to. I rock Z28. I forget the type. It was certain types. Ninja bike wasn't all that famous back then. Yeah. It was certain type of motorcycle. You had a motorcycle that a parent or more likely buy their child. I think it was an 80. Might be. My partner had one. I think we called it the 80. But then you had I forgot the big one. I forgot other than the chopper, Harley Davidson and all that. You got Harleys. But you had other motorcycles that were really fast. I forgot them. Because the ninjas and stuff like that weren't quite that famous yet. But you had the IROC Z28, which I think are two different cars. Z28 and IROC Z. If I'm saying that right. And then quite a few other things. Right? Back then you still had like that General Lee like type era when the car might be jacked up in the front, might be jacked up in the back, right? You had a lot of speedster cars and whatnot. So this is about the time period was they still playing, all that still playing, right? You got niggas saying they gonna get some of them, which was known, a lot of crackers were known for having monster truck, mud slinging monster truck that be way up in the air. Right, you might have a ladder just to get on the runner of it. That's right by the door. You probably have a ladder to get up to that. It's at the bottom of the door, like where the feet go. When you sit in the car, where your feet go. But when you open the door, it's a little runner down there. You might have to have a ladder to get up there, and the wheel be way up here. Might be over your head. Now you had a lot of niggas started saying, "I'm gonna get that." Some niggas even got it. Right. Do the research, nigga probably started that shit. Nigga started most shit. But anyway, that's what's playing back there. You know? And Rolexes was out. You got a lot of designer stuff the average motherfucker don't even know about. Average motherfucker from lower class, a lot of upper class people don't know. Because a lot of upper class people don't even spend money on certain shit. They feel like that's frivolous. So they'll buy Seiko watch. they wouldn't get certain things. So a lot of people didn't even know a lot of these brands, but certain brands were known. Rolex was one of them, right? I remember when niggas first started talking about blue faces a lot. So these are the type of things, because money, cash money. A person got cash money, right? And it's a legitimate person. This person got some type of job, probably inherited certain stuff, and woo, might be an entrepreneur. Just some of the best that the community has, black or white, Hispanic, all that there, Asian, whatever. And whatever of value they can get their hand on. If they run out of liquid cash, most dealers in the streets wanted liquid cash. That's it. This how crucial this shit finna get. They wanted liquid cash. Depending on where you was at, but in Miami, a nickel rock could be big as my fingernail. My pinky fingernail. A nickel boulder. I don't have nothing to show you how thick that'll be, But if you can see the space between my fingers, I think you can see that. It be about that thick. Right about big as my finger. That's a nickel rock in Miami. Which should definitely be, depending on where in Georgia you go. It can be anywhere from a dime to a 20 or more. Might get $50. You break that shit down, you might get $50. Especially if they cooked it right. Some good baking soda. And not a lot. The ratio should be whatever the weight. If I weigh that, first of all, that shit gotta be real. Can't have no cut, no whole lot of cut on it. So it need to be coming straight off a block. That's the best type to cook. Get it off the block. Even if you got a quarter block, hope a nigga ain't took, what's a quarter? 9 ounces. Hope a nigga ain't took by 5 ounces or something and worked it up and ready to rock the motherfucker. Hopefully they gave you a quarter of the block. So you got to do the knowledge to find out what's in this powder. If this a block powder, quarter, half, that now I can take from that and start breaking down the O's. Maybe half a O. If you need to, you probably want to cook an 8. But you don't need to just get no any powder and cook. So now first of all, you gotta make sure it's some powder ain't got a whole lot of cut. Don't put nothing but, say for instance, I'm gonna do I done forgot my 7. That's a quarter. 7 grams. No more than 3 grams of baking soda. No more than 3. If you put less than 3, you really want some good shit. Just don't be giving no big ass boulder. But it don't matter. Cause when you cook it, that's why it's best to cook more. But you gotta find out what you got. So you cook about a half of O. 14. Take 14. Remember I said how to where to get the powder from. Now don't get no any powder, but you take 14. Put about 6 on that bitch of baking soda. Cook it. Cook it. Drop it. If that powder were right, it should come back by 28. Right? So I'm gonna close to 28. And another thing, before you drop that much, you need to drop about an 8. To see. Because you never know. You can go through all that mind games and shit, but you still ain't dropped it. So you should drop about an 8. 8, which is 3.5. 1.7. Something like that. You can drop that and see how it come back. Boo, when it dry out, put it on the towel, dry out, boom, boom. You know, you look at the water, and make sure, you know, the other stuff. I ain't getting all that. It's the other steps you go. I ain't getting all that shit. But you look for it. I ain't gonna tell you what to look for. There's too many more details to it. It's more complicated. But you look for it, you drop it, and if knowing what you're doing, you know what you put in there, so you can pretty much see. You know, when it's that body it. And you fuck with the water, when they heat the water, looking at the water clear, ain't it? You can see right through the glass clean, you got no mayonnaise out, all kind of shit stuck to the side of it. So now you put that shit on the napkin, let it dry out, boom. Put a fan on it, don't blow it away. Let it dry out. You find somebody to smoke. You give them a little piece, a little shit, you shave it off, tell them what that's like. You ain't gotta show them where it come from. Just put something like a piece of aluminum foil, whatever, a little 000 bag or something. But you tell the person, I want to hit that. Tell what you think. Now back then, you think, no, my eyes wrong. They're supposed to be buck. Yeah, like that. I ain't did this in a long time. Buck eyes and look like about to catch a stroke at the bottom. Bees of sweat. They probably, because most of them ain't gonna bullshit you. Only way one of a regular person like that bullshit you if they know the people you got it from. You don't never get nobody that know the people you got the powder from. Don't never do that. Don't even let them know where you got it from. Cause they might try to play on their side and go back on and say, I'm the one who told them it was good, give me some. So you don't never let them do you like that. You keep them in a dog, keep a mark of a dog in their body. So now, you get that and you find that out. Now you know, so when I get more of the same batch, right? Sift it, shake it up, you try to make everything mix blend so you got the same shit every time you drop something. And once you feel like you kind of confident you got it, then you can at least just start dropping more and more, depending on what your orders like, what it's moving like, what you trapping, you know, you nickel and dime, you know, you got ounces, blah blah blah. So now in that environment, custos who got money probably ain't doing nothing more than snorting cocaine in the beginning. We talking about the beginning. We going to the beginning now. Now niggas for life, they say Alpo them was jumping. They jumped out at like 81. We ain't talking about no freebase. We talking about hard. So the hard was already here. Some nigga, I remember back in the day, some nigga believe it been here longer than that. And the nigga it was just quiet, kept quiet. But anyway, 81, it had already hit the streets. So before it hit, what I'm trying to go to, before it got popular, the average person who gonna end up trying that, probably 2 cocaine, powder, like doing lines, white lines, right? Probably with freebasing, which is powder being smoked, but it ain't crack cocaine. It's a difference. And that one of the main crowd who gonna slip up and think they can handle that goddamn crack. Because the crack is cocaine. But what's baking soda? Especially them niggas back then. Baking soda, you can use baking soda for so much shit. Baked cookies and cake. Ain't nobody scared of no goddamn baking soda. Right? Clean the flow and all that kind of shit. Baking soda ain't never hurt nobody. Right? So they ain't scared of baking soda. But that's the problem. The baking soda is gonna be the problem. Gonna make crack into, cause ain't nothing else in there. Usually if it's something else in there, it's making it not as effective. It ain't gonna turn you like, it ain't gonna do you like that. You done fucked it up. Pure baking soda and as pure as you can find cocaine, that what crack is. That's the monster. So now, this I'm just telling you what it is. So now, this the situation I'm trying to get to. People got money. Freebase ain't got them like that. Powder ain't even bad. Powder, before crack came out, when they were teaching us in school about what the stairway, they said, powder gonna have you lying and stealing, and they say you be talking too much, you always talking and stuff. They tell you how to look for signs of a person on powder. Look up their nose and the dilated pupils, I think they call it. Maybe sweat, very talkative, all that. But they say, how many minutes is it? Oh, I got a good hour here? Cause I gotta stop, I gotta make some calls right quick. I done missed some calls and shit. So as bad as powder cocaine supposed to be, because they say start stealing, your marriage can fail, you know, all that kind of stuff. So as bad as powder can be, we still ain't seeing the effects of crack. So people who say, I can control my high, they got the bills paid, they dress nice still, the children well taken care of, the children go to college, they buying clothes for college, they got pocket change in college, they might buy them a car for graduate from high school stuff. Oh, I ain't scared of no cocaine. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. I control my high and all that stuff. You do a lot of stuff. We're going to get into that a little bit more and act more and more active, because the Moors that are more active than these bookworm ass nigga around here trying to talk down on the nigga because he ain't read enough books and shit. Because you going to have to go through I'll show you one of these damn buildings around here. You see one that ain't high enough. You going to have to go through how many stories that shit is? Remember, about 16 or better. You gonna have to go through a 16-story building packed full of books where you can't even step in that motherfucker and shut the door. Can't climb through a window, can't, and full of books to read all to find out this shit these niggas, for fuck it, I just tune in to us to Ducatil, goddamn Chief Rod and all that. But I'm gonna tell you, man, you can't say we not Moors when you sitting up here, just like 5% can't say I ain't God when the first thing a 5% are gonna tell you is you God. Black man, what you talking about? You got, oh man, you see the cross on your chest, and you know he might have seen you over there singing some church song with some guys in high school, whoever you hanging with and all that, and he trying to what the nation called fish them out, right? Fishing. Jesus said, "I'll make you fishers of men." So when the nation of gods are herb fishing, a lot of times that's one of the first things they tell you, who you are. 360 cycle 720, blah blah blah. You don't have the knowledge here, cognizant, but you are. They're telling you who you are. Okay? It's the same thing with the Moorish Science Temple. Because I don't know don't mean I'm not that. And being, because see the umbilical cord that connected me to my mother, who had one that connected her to her mother, and so on and so forth, that's what makes you a Moor. Inheritable. See, knowledge, lack of, or possession of, cognizant knowledge does not differentiate. It just elucidates. It illustrates. It makes it clear to you so you can be claro. Like they talk about RVBpublications.com, you gotta be clear. Claro. When you're going against these invaders, the sellout, anybody who won't be real with you. Because really and truly, we never needed all this shit. And we will receive the knowledge that has been hidden from us. That's just life. You're born to some people, they tell you who you are. And you forever find out who you are, because there's a lot to find out. What your ancient forefathers were then, you are now. That's Noble Drew Ali. So now, these silent wars that was waged against us, a lot of our best and brightest, our warriors, have been one killed. They either are in insane asylums or died in them. Incarcerated or died in incarceration. That's what's really happening. Some of them can't even spell their own goddamn name. Don't mean they ain't no motherfucking autochthonous heir to this estate. That's what it's all about. So we getting into a lot of these tricks and traps and a lot of these goddamn episodes we had to go through, like Indiana Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, right? Which you see he's going through physically. We had to go through not only physically but mentally, spiritually, and all of that, right? So now, what happened was, many of our elders were very irresponsible, number one, in who they bequeathed inheritances to. And a lot of these people from the outset of it, from what I've heard over the years and anything I've read, a lot of these are Negroes, are blacks and whatnot. Some of them probably been Masons that knew the secret, but they still was going by, you know, allowing people to call them black and blah, blah, blah. And they were buying land. We ain't supposed to buy land, really, truly. So a lot of this land that we lost, this was land that was really newly acquired. A lot of it was newly acquired land from people who, far as they know, they was coming from, they traced their lineage back to slave plantation blase squat. Because like I keep saying, them free blacks that they taught us about in elementary and high school, them probably was the Moors, who didn't have a lack of knowledge. So when Noble Drew Ali came to tell us, and you see all them people on them photographs, that's probably why he had so many people around him in the early 1900s. Let me see something. Yeah, what we say the 1910s, because he went public in 1913. So for all we know, he probably didn't even have to teach a lot of them around him about that, because they already knew that. What do we know? Understand? When they tell us they admit to us there were a lot of blacks who were free. Some of them didn't even have to buy their freedom. from a plantation. Let that sink in. Remember, Grand Sheikh always says the fraud is on both sides. And remember, they played us against each other, especially those juice bar smoothies drinkers. They would foment war. They would find out who beefing and go from side to side being a talebearer. Oh man, brother Jamil said, da, 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 da. Go over there, brother, whoever. Nasim. Trying to say a name I don't know. So they don't think I'm talking about somebody I really don't like. Nasim, I don't know Nasim, right? Tell Nasim, go over there, tell Chewbacca, and then they got us all killing each other. And they selling us weapons and whatnot. That's the type of stuff they was doing when they didn't have the power to come down like they come down now with the U.S. Marshals, ATF, and all that kind of stuff, National Guard. They didn't have that type of power. They use our power in our minds, got in our head, played with our emotions, and watched us converge on each other. So during that time, we were so much at war, we didn't give a dang what happened to an enemy combatant, and we felt merciful if we didn't kill him. I could have killed you. So back then, you don't see prisoner of war and incarceration because you didn't never had the type of incarceration we have now in America. U.S. American continent, right? You didn't have that. This some new jive. It's very recent. The type of incarceration, how we do convict lease system and all that. Well, you never had that. So we didn't see the end game. We didn't see them all over the world doing what they're doing. We didn't see all that. All we know is I don't like him. You know, I'm from a different tribe anyway. I'm from a different clan, blah, 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 whatever. Then they went inside the tribes and the clans and did the same thing. So you got people jockeying for position, probably jealous anyway because they didn't have as much power as the one that they really want to unseat anyway. And they started putting in places in the place of the actual sheikhs and chiefs and whatnot, caciques. I don't know if that was what we were using that terminology before they got here, or if that's a colonist thing. But you see them C-A-C-I-Q-E, C-A-C-I-Q-U-E, I think it's right. I haven't seen that in a long time, because a lot of things happen around that time. I did a Facebook post on that with Supreme Building. I used to be in the Sister Clara Muhammad School on the board, on the whiteboard, in the chalkboards. And I have stuff up there from, matter of fact, Roman Curio, Dumb Diverses, Interconservative Divino Policy and all that, Grand Sheikh Shawty Bey. I was calling myself trying to make that more plain for some people who couldn't keep up with Grand Sheikh or whatever, or who refused to go even sit down and listen to him for about 30 minutes or 2, 3, 4 hours. I would take out stuff from that because I knew they would listen to me. So I would go to Grand Sheikh stuff that I'm learning from and don't reinvent the wheel, just highlight some of the stuff Grand Sheikh was talking about and try to make it as understandable as possible for people with backgrounds like me, right? And show them how it is relevant to you. And you should be interested because it has everything to do with you. So now, it's crack era. When they ran out of cash, the next step was this. Well, hey, the first ring might be his wife's wedding ring, especially if she don't smoke. She just think she done lost the ring. She don't know where it's at. Oh, my earring. Oh, my brooch. And da-da-da. This nigga in the crack house or in the alley somewhere, it's gold, man. It's gold, man. It's diamond, man. Right? So we got smart quick because the older dealers taught us, back from the heroin days and stuff. Say no. Like Nancy Reagan, just say no. Watch that price go down, down, down to like $50. If you got product, it's gonna be less because that's what they really want. Man, you can get that motherfucker up the road. We didn't have too many niggas. We had dimes up the road. You can get that motherfucker 3, 4 dimes, about $10. That's like $30, $40, $50, right? And to you, if it's product, before you sell it, If I got a dime, that's really $5 to me. The customer gonna make it 10 when he buy it for 10, but that's really $5. See, I'm selling it for 10 because I gotta get some money. I ain't out here for my health, goddammit. So anything in that world gotta be double or better. Unless you just want to knock out the competition and you giving surplus on your shit. Right? So that would a boulder is. A boulder giving surplus. We used to call it a boulder when I was talking about this big. Now that's surplus. See? Because in the same city, a nigga give you half of that for the same price until you fuck off if you don't want it. Especially if the quality is there. That's another thing. Boulder might be just cutting it. But you got that thigh. We used to call it thigh. You got that thigh. You can have half a boulder. And you know, you ain't got to argue. Toodles. Bye. Close the gate behind you. They take about 2 steps. All right, man, all right, let me get, because they know you got that thigh. That shit really had them out there. I keep doing it wrong. I ain't done this a long time, but the eye be big and the mouth be twitching. And we twitching. And they there's a smacking shit. It's hard to do it all at one time. But they be doing it all at the same time. The eye be twitching. And the eye big. And they back when I first started slanging, they just suck peppermint a lot. And bees and sweat. And there's a little more to it, but I ain't getting all that. Because we ain't just talk about just that. There's too much details in that, right? I ain't gonna go into detail for the cooking and all that shit. The shopping for the pot and all that shit. And I ain't going too much detail for the smokers, right? But that's the main thing right there. That's when you know they got the ET look. We used to call it the ET look, ET phone home. Now, being a non-crack user, even if you spoiled child, got everything you're gonna need, you know you probably the only child, your mama and daddy are alive and your grandparents alive, and you ain't got a whole lot of cut, you're gonna inherit a lot of stuff. And back then it was easy to get some type of job, piece of job, pay a lot of more money and all that kind of stuff compared to nowadays. You can't look at the dollar amount. You got to study the whole economy back then to see how they was getting paid more. Trust me, right? And if you not on dope, especially if you poor, and you type of person who likes stuff, you like to have things, but you poor. So you had to basically wait and hand it down. You about good and grown now. You in your teens and stuff like early 20s and stuff, boy. Most of them by the time they got about 20, they had a job. Probably 2. Probably went to the military, boo-boo. Because they can't wait to get, I was talking earlier tonight. We like animal skin, we like reptile, we like mammals. Even the birds, you might have to be stuffed with feathers, duck feathers and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We like stuff like that, silk, satin, cotton and ostrich and all this kind of, this is what we really like. We like stones, precious metals and stuff like that. That's what we like, and that's just on our body. Clothes and accessories, right? If we got a bag for accessories, we want to be alligator bag and all. That's how we are. The type of people we are. You ain't gonna get it. You sit there watching this person. The middle class and the upper middle class, the affluent people. We had one particular person, I don't say his name, but if he had the IROC Z, the Z2, because I forgot exactly what he had. He had trucks, cars, spoke cars, because you also had like the the Regal. Cutlass Supreme, shit like that. Ooh. Now this before the lick, the candy paint, the Daytons and all. We ain't got that yet. They're gonna be a little later. Cali probably playing Daytons already. But it took a while for Dayton to get up out of Cali. But this before even 30s and cuts. Kragers and baskets, Incas and Momo. That shit ain't really got popular if it's even out. Cause it might be out, but when niggas start putting shit together a certain way. That's why I said what I said. That's a tire and a rim. So you got Incas and Momo, 30s and cuts, Kragers and baskets, choosing vogue. See, that's a combination. Wasn't nobody holler putting shit together like that before niggas started doing it like in the 80s. Cause I just talked about what niggas were playing back in the General Lee cars and all that shit, Z20, all that. Now, in the 80s, we ain't got to that yet, but it's about to start. In Atlanta, we had I think Rabbit. I think New York had Jetta, Volkswagen Jetta shit. In Atlanta, it was the Rabbit. I think it was the Rabbit that was popular. You had a Rabbit Club, shit like that. But you know, we fucking with all them old school, them goddamn, them Caprices, them Regals, definitely Cadillac. That's a no-brainer. I'm trying to think about most majority of cars in the very beginning. Monte Carlo, right? It's certain car, nigga, most likely the nigga he trying to save his money to get, he gonna steal that motherfucker. Some goddamn some nigga, some boy. Nigga no. Nigga gonna do something, boy. And you ain't got none of that but a dream. We used to play bingo. We on the curb, we somewhere where a lot of cars at. And bingo, that means you be the first one, try to be the first one, but it's the car you really want. You ain't trying, if you a real nigga, you ain't trying to catch what the next man like before he do it. Some nigga do that. Some nigga do shit like that. And try to play like they been like that. They falling behind your way, but they try to fake like they been like that. But you really been a real nigga, you saying bingo on the shit you like. Right? So we still doing that. Right? The heaviest gambling we doing, playing Get Like Me. Flip a quarter, a nickel, a dime, whatever you can afford, and do like this. And if a nigga do like this with you, and he got like you, he can get your money. Pitching pennies. We pitching pennies. We just coming up out of that shit. And some nigga just started to shoot crap in the schoolhouse and whatnot and other places they be at. But they gotta shoot the young nigga cause old niggas ain't finna shoot that low. Too tough unless he just humoring your ass for a minute. But old nigga, them niggas shooting for hundreds of dollars, thousands and shit. Get to the point they got a car outside. Taking all wedding rings and Rolex watches and shit, guns and shit. Boom, boom, put that shit up there. See what that do. That's how the older nigga, them Atlanta niggas, the Miami nigga back then in the 70s and the 80s. But there was some real ass goddamn, you had a lot of out-of-town niggas coming through. City like Atlanta, Miami is international and nationwide. But you had a lot of vets, native Atlanteans, ATLians, and native Miamians. Were just as fast as them niggas from out of town. So we ain't a lot, not all, a lot of young niggas ain't up on that level yet. Some of them young niggas been picked and chosen. Prostitutes done chose pimp for out the young niggas. Hustlers, the different hustlers and stuff, illegal hustlers, done chose the young nigga, teaching him the game, Green eye stand with the sticky hands. From Bronxdale area, Black Spade, Baby Spade, right? They taught him how to pickpocket, right? So they picking up some of us, but a lot of us, they picking over. They don't too much want to, because what's happening, I'm gonna tell you what's happening. The state started to get more in black folk business. So contributed to the delinquency of a minor. They're trying to avoid that charge. Because that's one thing. If you just give them a little alcohol or something like that. But then you start talking about felonious capers, and a young nigga more likely be trigger happy and shoot the victim when you ain't really have to do that. There's a lot of shit you can do short of actually pulling a trigger. You ain't even got to violence. You ain't even got to get violent. It's a way you approach, the way you talk. You got people shitting and pissing on themselves, and you ain't even pulled the gun out. But a young nigga be bam, 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 and see. So older nigga like, you know. And they had a lot of slick shit. They had a lot of slick shit they used to do back in the day that they even stopped doing because it started getting more time in the court. And the court started catching on and said, no, that's a thing they do. That's not something somebody just did. They do that. Business, enterprise, and then they giving a gang of time. So a lot of stuff started tapering off right around that same time. And me being the pimp that I was, like I told you, Cedric Foster, God bless the dead. Cedric Lamar Foster, man. Born 6/16/72, I think, right? Man, me and him first started chopping it up. We had met, we hit it off real good, right? Cedric Lamar Foster, one of the first stories he told, he from Michigan. So he got a lot of family was in Detroit. And he was talking about how a lot of his cousins and whatnot was police because they was really street niggas, but the police had came so hard down on the pimping and stuff they was doing that they jumped on the police for to stay out of jail. Cause they couldn't do nothing. It used to be a time, you know, you're gonna have a place you hang, several places somewhere in the hood, and you got different hood cause y'all go to the same school. So he live over there, he live over there. So you got different places you can hang in the hood, and then you got different places when you get out there by the strip malls and stuff, little stuff like that, like on Happy Days, stuff, they go to the diner. So every place that was known to be at had got hot. So they can't be holding contraband and stuff. You can't make no money now. You can't even date the girls like you used to do and go out of town and visit family. You ain't got no money. So they got on the police for it. So me and him were the first one that talked about pimping for me. Coming out my mouth saying it to somebody. It was Cedric Lamar Foster. God bless the dead. Just passed toward the end of 2025. And at that point, other than on TV, I had been exposed to seeing a few. You could see a few pimps, but they were real quiet and cool, and you might not even know a nigga pimp looking at them. But it was most of the hoes, the hostros. Me and Michael Richardson, Calvin Richardson, probably Baby Boy, Mac 10. We'll jump in the car sometime, the Twitty boy. We'll jump in, Mr. Richardson had about 5 at any given time. Because I think he really owned more than that. But any given time, he had about 5 Lincolns, 4 to 5 in the backyard, 1 or 2 in the front. On the street, 53rd. Right by the mall. It was Masjid now, by the mall. Right down the street on the east side of I-95. He had like 2 photos. All of them about the same color too. That I can remember. Most of them about the same color. He might have had some white and gray, but most of them that same goddamn, that's a funny color. I don't even know what to call that shit. Right? And that's one of the main cars we'll be in. Cause with my daddy and my older brother, we'll ride all, man. We wouldn't just go to Hostro. We'd be all over. All through Overtown, and then back in the day, people ain't had no AC. So they're at night, you gonna see the mama, the grandmama, great grandma, something like that, aunties, sisters and cousins, like kind of thing, and probably some nieces on each porch, whether it's a house or apartment. They getting out the cool air. It was more trees and shit. They wasn't talking that citrus cane and all that bullshit when they started chopping down all them trees in the 90s. We had more trees, more breeze. It was more like a grove, because a lot of people had some type of fruit trees in their yards. So that's a grove, right? Basically, not just in Coconut Grove. So with Mr. Richardson cars though, we ain't too much do 18. I found about 18 later. We do 79. We do Biscayne. We do the beach. And that was my main exposure. And then the fact we in Miami, it's hot. So everywhere you go, women ain't dressed too much different from a prostitute, except she probably just ain't got on high heel. Cause it's hot. So man, right? Atlanta, we had Auburn Avenue, Ashby Street, and it was another one. I keep forgetting, it might be an M. I don't think it was Montgomery. Auburn Avenue, Ashby Street, and it was another one. Now that was with a lot of money. But Atlanta, like Miami, man, Atlanta got a lot of women, man. They from all over the world too. But the Atlanta AT, I didn't. But man, hey man, check this out, man. So it's all in me, on me, and around me. By the time I meet Cedric Lamar Foster, I ain't met Ailey yet. That's my brother-in-law. I ain't met Ailey yet. My nephew gonna be born while I'm in Tony Elementary. Cedric, come to find out, Cedric went to god doggone The Catholic. I played football for the Catholic with Sean them and Frog them. But I don't remember he was going to the Catholic. Saturday went to the Catholic. St. Peter and Paul. I played football for them one season. And we won every goddamn game. And the one that Thomasville cheated on too, we won them too. Won every game. Fought, we only get mostly white boys. Thomasville was the only black team. We fought them at least twice. And we whipped their behind so bad they rocked the bus when we leaving. Pop throwing rocks at them. They mad that we ain't let them win. Nigga, please, nigga. Next time, nigga. Sean could play any position on the field, offense or defense, but we made him a quarterback. Cause all the other quarterbacking niggas were like, Sean. And sometimes they're second string for him, third string. But Sean show out. I don't know his last name. I don't know Sean's last name. Sean show out. And the whole backfield and the wide receiver showing out. And the rest of the offensive line, defensive line, and defensive backs and all that, I was free safety punt return. But the coaches made us rotate through all that shit. On the line, OL, DL, offensive line, he made us do all that shit. Center, no guard, all that job. But it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing. We had it up here, and when it came down to that right there, we had enough of that. But Sean was the quarterback. We had about 4-5 quarterbacks with just a good arm, if not better. Definitely running back, what Sean could have did, but we want a quarterback. I say they, cause I just came into all this shit. They been a unit. So anyway, that's what me and said, me. I got to be about 10, 11. Because I got hit by a car at 9. We were living in Eastwick. When we left Eastwick, we went to Tilson. So it got to be after 9. I'm like 10, 11. Right? Cedric 1 year ahead of me. So if I'm 10, he 11. If I'm 11, he 12. So now, this is the first time I'm talking about some ism. I'm at Tony Elementary now. I was at Sister Cloud Muhammad, Bankhead, Atlanta. I'm in Tony Elementary now that we there. Right? So now, Ailey, I'ma meet after I meet Mike Murphy. Mike Murphy was like the little brother, the big brother that Randolph didn't have. Randolph was the only child. But Randolph was like the little brother Mike Murphy didn't have, because I don't think Mike Murphy got nobody younger than him. Nip older, and I think he got one more older. So, them niggas were like, right? Real tight. I always say, boy, Randolph White and Gary Everett was my link to down by law, Mike Murphy. Because Mike ain't really met with me like that. He felt like I was too young, green, I'm going to be slow. He don't want to contribute to the links of a minor and all that jive in the beginning. So a lot of times they'll take off on the bikes and shit. Wouldn't let me go. I had a swim. My stepdad bought me a swim. Red, white, and silver with a little black on it. That shit was way beyond the 12 speed. But he didn't want me to follow him. So I never got to really get out the porch like that. I ain't hardly doing nothing but real petty, small time job. Right? At that point. And then, Ailey, brother-in-law. This got to be at the Mackey I was born, because I didn't start coming into that house. My sister wasn't pregnant no more. He into the world now. When I started going in their house. So the Gresham Road boys is really how I really got off the porch. They're gonna be the Gresham Road boy. And from there, through that, I know I'm a force to be reckoned with. But the shit we had to do under pressure. And mind you, I can't be, but I'ma find out it's in the inbox should be. He told me what year he was born. And from that year, I'ma know how old I am. So I'm like 12. Oh, I'm thinking 5th grade. I'm about the 5th grade, so whatever age that was. 5th grade, I don't feel like thinking like that right now. 5th grade. I know that much. Cause now I'm smoking reefer, drinking alcohol. I'm starting on the weekends. Before you know it, I'm taking a little something to school. On the way to school, hit that motherfucker, put that bitch out. Smoking squares every now and then. I ain't never been a chain smoker. I just hit a Newport, right? Drink me some malt liquor or so, whatever else I can get my hands on, right? Boo, boo, boo. But if I mix that reefer with that alcohol, boy, I'm fucked up. Can't have too much of each one if I'm mixing it together. And I learned quick, don't mix no alcohol, not me. Don't mix too much alcohol together, no two different alcohol, hell no. Go to school lit. Every now and then. But it was on the weekend, for the most part. Fuck around with Gresham Road boy. So now, like I say, the pimping manifestation to the world outside of my mind, me and Cedric Foster talking. And at that point, you know, and I went there because right before the crack era hit, if I remember correctly, and how far we know, in Atlanta, and the word on the mob and on the movies, on the TV and all that shit. So the crack era done hit, but we don't really know about it yet. But my dog, he passed away too. Terrence Harris. Terry, called Terry Funk, right? What's the more name we call him? Never devoid of the funk, Terry Funk. It was another one, Sir Funk a lot, and they had a whole lot of other names for him, right? So Terrence Harris told me about a 13-year-old pimp who was chosen by some hoe. Some hoe basically made him a pimp, basically. I don't know his background for his dad and all that kind of stuff, but some hoes, some older hoes, like 18, 20 and all that, they chose him and were giving him a quota, basically. They were giving him trap money. He had I think a canary yellow Cadillac, and he stayed in East Lake Meadow, and this according to Terry Harris. I ain't never went and looked for the nigga and all that, but now that was on my brain heavy. And I had to be heavier on the pimping than the Mac. If anybody know about pimping and Mackey, it's two things that differentiate a pimp from the Mac. If you ask the average pimp and the average Mac, the Mac is more on attack. He is the one more likely, he gonna break the ice. He gonna approach. He gonna have the jewelry. He gonna have the fine clothes. He gonna have a nice car. He gonna have some slick talk. And he might even work with you. To the point you might walk away with some cash, still holding some cash, he let you have. He let you go back home to your parents, let you do all kind of stuff, but you fucking with him heavy, and he turning you on to the game, to the life. Now, pimp, a lot of times, get chose without so much macking or choosing. And it's quite likely he at least positioned himself, put himself in the way of things, like Nadia said, put himself in the way of things. He positioned himself and carried himself a certain way, and probably told certain key people that's what he do. And for you know, he done got chose. And when he put a bitch under instructions, because no matter how much she know, she got to find out how to hold for him. If he got that much presence of mind to even know that for himself, to instill in her his brand of pimping, right? Put his stamp on her, right? Put it under instructions, and she is going to, one of the main instructions, she could probably bring people home to him. First of all, if his instructions right, she gonna have the right mind to catch a hoe out there. When she catch a few days, and see she holding on that money for a minute, then she gonna try to get over there back to the stable, to daddy. Because he might accept that as a choosing fee. Daddy might not take nothing from her. And he might take her in his companionship for a while, or his company, interview her, pick her brain, find her, feel like if he want to even deal with her or not. And if he does, he probably won't take a choosing fee if she got short money. He might say, well, my fee is such and such and such. So he don't give a damn what you're doing with that $200-300, whatever he figures short. But he tell you, well, my fee is da-da-da. I heard what you said, my fee is da-da-da. So she gonna have to go by her way. Maybe. He might see how green she is. And she might not even have them. If she green, she probably ain't got no fee. Because she ain't really doing it like that. right? But she probably say a slut or sexually active, say it like that, sexually active, dating, you know, on a dating scene, might have a boyfriend, they might have an open relationship, shit like that. So the piazza might say, well, interview, he might take her in and start to work on it and work with her. And most of the older P's that's really known for the pimping. I ain't talking about nobody just talking shit. We talking about real niggas really pimping. Most of them say that he wouldn't turn her out back to the streets until he got her to a certain point where he feel like, okay, now she ready to go out as my hoe. That I can expect to come home with my fee, you know, my quota every day. I done got the fee. If he take a fee off top, and now I can let her go to come back with my quota. Because a real seasoned P is not about age, about know-how. Know the dangers to himself to just send somebody out there and accept the money and send out a set of money. You gotta y'all gotta have an understanding. And they say don't do the crime, you can't do the time. Whatever you got her doing, if the state court of law come involved in this shit and put you with her and what she doing out there, not to mention what you might be doing on the side, because you might not be just pimping, just know that whatever she doing, you doing. If she decide to turn on you and tell, well, he beat my ass and he made me, if it go there, all them watches she stole and money she stole, she clipping. We call it clipping back in the day. She's stealing. She might charge the date $50, $100, $300, $5,000, whatever. But he had something laying around. She took that. She pickpocketed. She did this and that. Now, if some of them call the police, they get a nice ID on her, and the crackers start kind of looking for her, and they put two and two together and finally find out, because sometimes it happen like that, to this day. That particular person, like the Bourbon Street, they had one Bourbon Street, they called it Bourbon Street. That particular person, so many reported crimes fit her description and her style of criminality, right? They figure they got her. And then when they do the victim ID lineup, all the victims say, yeah, that's her. Now see, what you got that girl out there doing? See, that's what they talking about. That's what they talking about. So, especially these days. These days, a lot of times when niggas say JP, he mean that. He mean, I ain't forcing her. There ain't no gorilla pimping. Gorilla pimping is not pimping. I'm not forcing her. She not underage. And quite likely she ain't doing nothing but having protected sex. I'm gonna leave it there. Protected sex. Blow job, hand job, vaginal entry, maybe anal entry. That's it. Might put a strap on and peg them, something like that. Let them suck the strap on, stuff like that. Right? That's it. Maybe a menage a trois. You know, if you got another hole in the stable, she might have to go to another stable, get another, whatever. That's about it. And dates, travel, stuff like that. JP. Because if once you start doing all this other stuff in the state court of law, they not gonna call it just pimping. You will get that pimping and pandering charge, which now they'll just say human trafficking. And you're gonna get some felonious stuff like grand theft, burglary, might be a car theft, grand theft auto, and stuff like that. It depends what she doing. Is you got her doing that? And if you put that violence in there, and she say I was scared of him, because see, that's more like you got a kidnap. Because some pimps, they known for doing it now. They'll threaten, they'll tell her, I know your child at. I'll kill your child. I'll kill your grandmammy. Bitch. Niggas doing stuff like that. If they find out, if she say she felt like her life was on the line, she ain't gonna do all it, but she might get 3 months, but some probation. And you might get Cash Out. Cash Out got a life sentence right now today. And I ain't laughing at him, but Cash Out, Cash Out, spelled with a K, I think. $HOUT, I think. Or KASHOUT. And $40 million. And he was pretty successful with the rap and all that. $40 million restitution. Be split, I guess, the state and the victim. Gonna bust that down some kind of way. And the Epstein list is still got but Cash Out, this a recent judgment. Cash Out gotta pay $40 million, and he gotta do a life sentence. And he ain't killed nobody. He ain't ate nobody. He ain't drunk no blood, Shawty. He ain't hunted no motherfucker. Chasing children around the island, so shooting at them. He ain't did jumping out of the tree, slit their throat, drink the blood out their throat, walking the fuck up in their hands at the same time. He ain't did none of that. He got a life sentence and got to pay $40 million. What that tell you about that judge that ruled that? In this climate, where Epstein and Sean Puffy Cone is little boys, when it come down to the big boys involved in that Epstein case? Yeah. What that tell you about that judge? Get that man a life sentence and charge him for it. You really trying to convince us y'all so fed up with all this stuff that you gonna become, really and truly, when you investigate that Epstein case, which me personally, I tied to the Wayne Williams, the Atlanta child murders. I grew up on that. That's the only case I really had that much detailed, in-depth information that showed me how the de facto government and the court system don't give a F about us, especially black people, when it come down to kidnapping and murder. Being a victim of murder, rape, and kidnapping. They don't care about us. Crystal Kaiser case. Lil Haiti Nicole, Chuck girlfriend, when he was out. I think they both alive. Chuck and Nicole alive. They both incarcerated though. Nicole got a lot of time. Fighting off a rapist or something like that. And I think the rapist died. Just like Crystal Kaiser. He was repeatedly stalking and raping and all that. And she got enough nerve to fight back. Killed his ass. And they got her in jail right now. She was a young girl. Now a young adult. I gotta Google to see how old she is. Crystal Kaiser. I think Kaiser spelled with a K. Crystal still with a UL at the end. CRYSTUL or something like that. Kaiser spelled with a K. Crystal Kaiser. They always show it in Dade County Jail. You on the psych floor when they got that green vest on there. They're like something like a suicide watch cell or something. She's supposed to be so crazy because she got enough sense not to let somebody rape her. And you never know if a person raped, you never know if he's a serial killer rapist. So the average judge that got anything to do with that case need to be munked up. So all them niggas in California, I don't remember where she from, all them niggas in California rather than them Hollywood actors and stuff like House and robbing them and all that, I don't know why they're passing over them dang on them people like that either. Cause them the main ones protecting the real serial killers. They got the most murders under their belt. Rape, cannibalism and all, yeah. They protected them. We got sonar, radar, we can detect underground passages and submarine, we can do all this stuff. But you can't track down a rapist who not only raping, they doing it on a big ass party with catering services, made. Dude, somebody seen something, said something. They just paid not to know. Paid not to play like they ain't heard. Matter of fact, the judge is the one who sends out the squad that has the power in the state court of law under the legal statutory code and even federal. The judge is the one that signed that damn warrant for you to go either no-knock warrant or a search warrant for a house or motor conveyance. Without that, police can't do shit. What would that tell you? So while they talking that shiznit about us being in the sports, in the Hollywood, in the entertainment, everything but the Moorish Science Temple information that the main people in the Moorish Science Temple trying to hide, because they the great sellouts and the great infiltrator coming from Prince Hall, Masonry, right? Ain't really trying to shake a bust a grape anyway, shake nothing anyway. While they lied and bullshitted, you gotta understand, our grandparents did this shit to us. Our parents, most black people come from an environment where you got I got a recent post about that, might be on YouTube. Nigga, you got your ass whipped and you didn't go to church. And you didn't go to school. And we talking about this here. When I say from about 8, 9 on down, it might come this way. About 10 and up, we talking about this here. Bap, 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 bap. And we talking about niggas who know all types of martial arts. Or fight just like they done trained under a master. Nah. And a lot of them were like war veterans and then, man, these niggas whipping ass. See, the empty hand, bare-handed act, that's the worst one. There's a lot of things you can't do with them gloves on, right? And you talking about no rules. They can hit you anywhere on your body they want to, any way they want to. See, this is what we came up under. And not only that, our community was so tight, if I was in Broward and I had to walk to Miami Gardens from South Broward, right? Say Hollandale. If I did something in Hollandale off Pembroke, I would get my ass whooped all the way down to Hollandale, all the way down the county line, 200-something street, all the way back to wherever Miami Gardens I'm going, because if somebody knows somebody, a lot of times relative or friend or whatever, alumni, grown whipping your goddamn ass for the same shit you did in Hollandale. They done found out, they done heard about you. By the time you walk your ass down there, telling you about what you did, asking why you did it, kicking your motherfucking ass. And by the time you get wobbly, down to the next yard, somebody ran, hey, and that's all the way home. And you faggot ass niggas gonna tell us we wrong because nobody ever spoke a word about Noble Drew Ali when y'all know what them faggots did inside that temple while he was still alive. And how shit went so quiet from 28, 29 on. And all we know is religion in school. Military in the streets. And some of the best of us went to the streets and military. Some of the best of us. Some of the realest niggas you can find, even right now to this day. Matter of fact, Toriano Obashango L, the Jaguar, military vet. Some of the realest niggas you can find. Military street. Because the school was see-through. When you get you ain't really got to be a certain age once you hear that conversation. High school diploma, college degree, 5-year down business plan, 10 years, you won't start seeing a profit in 15, 25 years. Man, you sound stupid. Who the fuck finna do that? And don't even know how the fuck they gonna afford the first year, freshman year of college, the books and this and that and that. Working 2 or 3 jobs just to pay your way through the first year of college. If you ain't got a child already, that first child, by the reason why you dropped out to go get some money, especially by the time the 80s hit, Because everybody switched up on us. The grandparents and all, they ain't as nice no more. Matter of fact, the government came involved and said, you can't even give away shit no more. You gotta sell it. They used to give you shit. A house, a car, you get it to you. How you get that? Oh, such and such gave it to me. Couldn't say nothing else. Man, so much shit came on the law books around that time that wasn't already on the book. And boy, that child support shit, alimony, palimony, all that shit hit the fan in the 80s. Bitches flipped the script now. And the government started telling them, well, we'll give you a Section 8. If you on the list trying to get in the project, you ain't got your own house in the project, what they call it? Get in the project housing. They ain't necessarily Section 8, that's the project. Section 8 could be a nice house in a nice neighborhood. Or a condo or something like that. Right? And a condo association, that could be Section 8. They tell, well, if you ain't got no man. So now the girl, scared not to get the food stamp, the WIC, and all the Section 8 and all that, she gonna play it to the bus out now. To get out her mammy house. And the grandmama house. No, ain't no nigga around here. And they was sending people to the house. I remember back in the day, everybody now, if you over somebody's house, and they on welfare, you gotta help them clean up. Cause they coming around to look at the house. No male shoes above a certain size, and it can't be filthy. They got powder sugar, government cheese and shit like that. They gotta live through that shit, man. The rawest niggas was out here. I'm gonna tell you what we were doing. We were splacking cars, going to the chop shop. We were robbing banks. And anything gotta do a bank drop. They got a safe at that facility, and they gonna do a bank drop like every day or something like that, or twice a day or something like that. We robbing these motherfuckers. We got them going to the chop shop. What real niggas doing? Why? Because they took all the wood shop and all kind of shit out of schools. The grown men ain't teaching the young boys nothing no more. I remember going to the church. I was talking about that in the other post. The elders in the church elders who about 60 at that time, in the 70s, in the 80s, they done hit 60 years old and up. 58, something like that and up. And they basically cussing out. They ain't cuss too much, in church and stuff like that, but they fussing them out and talking at them about how they're not instilling these skills in these young boys. And they don't like what they see in these young boys sitting in front of these TV too long. It's called the idiot box. And you letting the radio and the TV raise your boys, and they going F off. In the church. That was the most respected place in the black community. Till niggas start shooting that shit up. And the whole start running through like Erykah Badu and nigga running through about 5 or 6. Nigga, before you know she got 5 or 6 niggas on child support. Before that era hit. What a nigga gotta do? Get shot, get killed? Some kind of way. Ain't gotta be bullets, a lot of ways to kill a nigga. 6 million ways to die, nigga, choose one. Nigga getting gang of time in jail. Ain't got out yet. If he is in and out, that felony, a motherfucker. If I'm correctly in the United States, it start with a 0, then a letter. A, B on down with that jail number. Right? This some real shit. When you out here can't get a job until you get on child support and then court and family court, and the judge say, oh, about all these missed payment or the payments you paid, but they say it's no trail, it's no paper trail. So that was a gift. Cause you ain't got them money order stubs and all that. You wrote on their child support or something like that. Okay, whatever you were doing, it ain't child support. So now you owe arrears. How old that child is? Do what they doing now. And now, listen, check this out. Be the last hired, first fired, how they say. You know what they'll say to you? In that courtroom, they'll lie through their motherfucking teeth and say, it's plenty of work out there. You just don't want to work. Matter of fact, we'll get you a job. So what they doing as temp service. Because you got to pay court costs and restitution and blah, blah, blah to the court. Now you can get a job because that convict lease system that's getting you while you incarcerated, they also will get you when the court say, well, get him. Now you got a job. But if it's a 15-hour job, 12 back then, if you ain't have certain type of certification and all that, you probably wouldn't get no $15-hour job in the early 80s, late 70s. Definitely not the 60s. You go Google minimum wage in the 60s, 65. Minimum wage in 75. Minimum wage in 80. 83. Now, you might get an apprenticeship though, but guess what? They gonna dock that because you gotta pay child support and you gotta pay the court restitution and whatnot. What you got left? Landlord start messing with you. Rent go up or eviction or something like that. Okay, well, okay, I tell you what, I'm gonna skip a few payments. No, you ain't. Well, I'm on the street. Well, if you don't go talk to the court, they might not tell you about them homeless shelters and blah, blah, blah. So you did something, but if that payment falls, oh, man. That was real niggas go, because real niggas get real pussy. And they keep the dick in, and they nut. And they don't stop at no one bitch talking about, oh, that, no, nigga. They might have 5 or 10, 15 hoes pregnant. Because in all actuality, you never know who the fuck playing with you. And we living in a time when bitches watching soap operas. That before reality TV. Reality TV is a spinoff of soap operas. And in the 80s, every bitch want to be Erica Kane and this person and that Dynasty or Knots Landing, Falcon Crest, and all that bullshit. Dallas, all that bullshit. They trying to keep up with the attitude these white bitches, rich and wealthy white bitch giving these rich white men. They trying niggas like that, po niggas. And anthropo niggas, just like that. Oh, a nigga gotta have this. Listen to some of the songs came out in the 80s. Vanity 6, Climax, and all that sassy shit they talking to the nigga on the dating scene and all that shit. So now niggas like, okay, they done switched up on me. And you know, you ain't getting too much home cooked meals. And used to be a time girl take over a grandmama house, of a aunt house, or mama house. Then if she got a place, she cook. So it's gonna be food, and the women always share. And sometimes they come together, throw it together, a little shindig, and everybody get the old shit out the refrigerator. Go on and cook that up now before it get bad. Da, da, da. So you got a lot of dishes and stuff, you know. So all that's over with. You can't probably see your children no more. See, and it's costing you because you probably went from that to now. Okay, damn. You know, damn, nephew done got older, so my room gone, or whoever done had the shit change the home. I'm trying to live out the hotel and that, but at the same time, the crackers done came down in the streets. I'm talking about everything from just standing still, ain't bothering nobody. Oh, that's loitering and prowling. That one of the first laws they enforced after the Emancipation Proclamation. Was loitering, standing around doing nothing. So now, everything you do you can't do shit. Right? Trespassing. Oh, damn. You gotta stay out of jail if you got a little, what the name? What do they call it? A history. Arrest history though. You might be on parole, see this shit got real serious real quick. So I heard a lot of niggas talk around me who actually was the niggas that we was learning about watching blaxploitation films. Cause we were too young to be out there doing all that. These are niggas who been there, done that player. They starting to catch hell. So you had the type with dinosaurs didn't want to change, then you had the type that adjusted. So gorilla pimps that adjusted became finesse pimps and whatnot. Slick pimps. Stop beating on them hoes. Even niggas who ruled the household with an iron hand, they stop hitting their woman. We talking about push, shove. You go into the statute, they taught us, the street niggas taught us this, and jailhouse lawyers. Go into them laws and read up what constitutes these infractions of legal code. So you see to it you don't do that. So you got assault, battery, don't have to be physical touch. In the Florida state statute, it say with the apparent ability to do so. So if you jaw-jacking, your physical proximity or knowledge of the person, you might have a key to the house. You know their routine. When she go to work at this time, man, you say certain shit, nigga. That's a terroristic threat. That's assault. And if it's not assault, it's a battery. But one of those under the guidelines, they say with the apparent ability to do so, a verbal assault. That's just the steam. That's just the growl before the tiger bite. The claw come across and snake your whole face off from a bear. You the growl first. They treat you like an animal in that motherfucker. And put your ass down. They sit your ass down for a good little time. Now, based on your record, it could be worse. And that's before they start talking about 3 strikes you're out in Cali or habitual offender in Florida. We call it habitual lies or the bitch or HBO. That's the nickname. Habitual Offender Act. The habitual violent offender that got the most time. So DMV, domestic violence, which we all grew up on, from parenting to child to spouses and boyfriend and girlfriend, if you wanted to stay on the streets, then stop that shit. You shouldn't even associate with somebody that make you want to even raise your voice at them too often. Somebody got to go. I'm going to leave them motherfucker, or you going to politely ghost me? See, I had too many females, because I'm not like that. So I had too many females out of feminine bullshit. Just mischievousness and curiosity and just evil. Escalate and to the point some of them just get mad because, I ain't showing signs of jealousy. I don't want to argue with this man because I see you wink at him or you laughed or you showed up and jumped out of his car and all this kind of stuff. I ain't questioning you about where you been, what you did, and I damn sure ain't approached the man. I just see that this relationship, 99.999% of the time, except for one bitch that I can remember, they initiated a relationship. One bitch I did only because I know she's a hoe. And she about to try to get away from my try the boyfriend and shit. I'm finna stay connected long enough to find out if she ever gonna end up choosing on this pimpin'. Now anyway, so the bitches tend to take kindness for weakness and get very curious about, well, what's gonna cause him to act? Because some of them don't feel right if you don't show signs of jealousy. But a real true player who 99.9% of the time didn't want the relationship in it, but he probably had to because it was best to do it that way for the time being. The player always really lean more toward player. That's a open relationship, if you want to call it a relationship. Because a lot of girls like to play game. I'm going to tell you why. A lot of girls, the Woodstock era, the flower child and all, that had kind of got played out with a lot of girls. And they started to put a negative stigma on that type of chick who would be a flower child, love child. What we call that? I almost said it. The flower child, the love child, I almost said it. Dang. Woodstock. Now, Woodstock, we had the people back then, it was like in their 20s and 30s and stuff like that. They lived through that time, actually. That wasn't just TV for them. That wasn't just history. They actually lived through that time. So, and you had something pretty much on that vibe before that. From the 50s, going to Lover's Leap and the drive-in and all that kind of stuff. But you had the teeny boppers, the so-called dizzy broad, which evolved into they probably call a hussy, slut bucket and all that kind of stuff. You had the type of chick, this is a party girl. So most of the young guys and the players, that's what we want. You might have a wife, but if you a player, you usually have an open relationship or a pass from your wife. She said, well, I'm devoted to you, but as long as you treat me right, I don't care about just don't disrespect me. You had more of that as the norm, and then you had those guys who would accept a possessive wife and be a one-woman man. Well, whatever. I wasn't that type of dude. So now, what I know, and I got personal because I can talk for sure. From the standpoint of a non-violent, good man. As far as I'm going to respect you, I know how to conduct myself around your family and stuff, if you got children already, and your parents and whatnot, and all that kind of stuff, your friend girl, I know how to conduct myself around people to respect and doors open and stuff like that. So when the chick wanna go, okay, into the relationship thing, and now she start getting real possessive and start coming to all these rules and stuff, so basically it's lockdown. We used to call it locking it down, cuffing. Like, okay, for the time being, I put up with that for right now. I go along with it, because I ain't the type of person, I ain't gonna too much lie to a bitch. I'm gonna let her know. It's okay, we'll do that. But I'm monitoring the actions. So the minute this bitch thinks she gonna have me like that, she gonna go fuck somebody. But shit, I ain't gonna race out there try to outfuck her. You probably never outfuck a hoe, a slut anyway. It's too easy for a bitch to get fucked by a woman or a man. It's just too easy, too fast, more than she care to do. A man, it take a lot more. So I'm definitely don't even entertain the idea, because I don't even move like that. It's too much pimping in me to even try to move like that, you know. And the pimping kind of even had me at odds with myself. A lot of times I want to fuck, but the pimping be thinking. While the body trying to get in something, the pimping be thinking like, man, shit. Who? Shawty, where she at? How we gonna get there? Man, shit. Start thinking about the money and all that, but shit. Man, I can't see past a dime bag of reefer and some alcohol. Gonna need a pack of Newport soon. Last time I bought some shoes. Look at my wardrobe, period, man. Shit, I need a car. You know, so definitely ain't pimping right now, cause it ain't happening. So now you looking at me personally. Tell you what it was. First, niggas didn't want to do shit at all. That morphed in niggas ain't doing it right. The main problem, the money ain't right. Too many niggas lying. Like we had slanguage, like E40s. We had slanguage. So real nigga man, you ain't gonna. You had too many niggas want to talk street talk, but they don't really mean what they say. That's lying. Now you lying. You in a nigga face lying. It's some real shit. Now we talking about doing these episodes, these capers and shit. This nigga lying. You don't even know it. So he playing the role. We call it playing the role. He faking the funk. And he'll have you all the way out in the field on a mission, not knowing the mission really don't exist. This bitch just lying. He at the height of his night. You at the beginning. The humble beginning. So you would be in a car that been carjacked. Might have been stolen. It's a difference. And you in a whole nother side of town, far away from home. Don't really know how you gonna get back. Somebody might have to lose their life just for you to get transportation back, because you probably can't use the transportation you in, because you might do something with this particular hot box is too hot to get back way across town. You might have to spend a night in the woods somewhere. You might have hoping you come across a burnt down ass house in the woods. You find shit like that sometimes. It's better being out in the open. Cause with the deers and shit I seen up the road, telling when the wolves and shit gonna come in. Right? So at least not be out in the damn middle of the woods talking about you gonna take a nap and shit. I get tired and shit, get late. And you trying to stay away from the streets and all that shit for a good while, cause the police gonna look for you for a while and they gonna stop. And we talking about they just got here 3 minutes ago. Shit. It's gonna be a minute, Shawty. So you got a situation like that where nigga get you in. But guess what? The money he was talking about, the person or the place he was talking about, where the people at, with the money and all that, a lot of times you come to find out it didn't even exist. And it might take you forever to even put that together because something happened on the way. And sometimes when you get there, that's when you really call it bluff, because you get there. I had one time, the way they talked up on the lick, you just know we gonna go in here and get, like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, go somewhere, look at what we got, bust it down, look and see what's what. Everybody look at it, how you say, not justify, estimate, guesstimate. Well, it look like about, I can get about that much, we can get about that, and we gonna get the money, hawk off the stuff, sell it to people and all that, and with the money, we gonna bust it down evenly. Cause we all was there, we all went, we gotta be ready to fight sometime. You don't wanna run and leave a nigga, so we gonna first pick niggas who we feel like ain't gonna be no soft, too scary. They gonna run like hell, they gonna fight like hell, they gonna shut their fucking mouth when they need to. And that's all you fucking with. They might have some intel. So some of them probably say they just gonna drive. You know, that person, he just want to turn us on, so he don't go in, he don't go with us, but he turned us on, so we gonna give him something later when we catch back up with him. So everybody had a little duty. So now, mess with these Negroes, don't be enough money for one person. It take time to figure out, cause we young, we all young. Cause most old people don't want to fuck with it. You don't know this nigga stone cold junkie. All they wanted was at least one crack rock. That's $10, bro, $5. So you been had what he wanted before y'all took off of y'all side of town, and probably in your pocket. He's scheming on your pocket. Another thing, me being young, I was around a lot of young niggas who started smoking crack at a young age. I can't even smoke a joint no more with nobody, because everybody got some reefer. They want to put some crack in it. It got to the point, they don't even want that shit. That reefer costs at least $10. Fuck the reefer, get a cigarette. I'm a have a cigarette, right? I can bum a cigarette. They get a cigarette, we can call it geek joint. Some niggas call it primo. They finna get a dime rock, because they ain't had no nickels up there. Too tough. Crush it up and sprinkle it on some tobacco and roll it in a 1.5 JB. J Diamond B. We call it Jaw, but J Diamond, that's a diamond, ain't no O. Them JB 1.5 and shit. Roll that shit up. And before you know it, they got a stem, a glass stem. And a lot of them didn't let me see them do that. But I know what to look for. I ain't gotta see you doing that to know. When a nigga get on the stem or a bitch get on the stem, a lot of times you know. It's a lot of shit. You can see how they carry themselves, how they dress, how they act, and how they talk. Plus, you ain't seen that geek joint in a million years no more. And that geek cigarette. Yeah, that stem somewhere. They trying to get back to it. Radio in, ET phone home. Now, so this what you dealing with, young nigga. First of all, the nigga look good. Hell, he can still run and fight and all that kind of shit, fucking the hell out them hoes. And his parents buying him clothes and stuff like that. We borrowing each other clothes, we stealing shit. That's why young people gotta be careful, boy. They tell us we were young, you too young to get married. You too young to have children for somebody. You don't know what type of person the person gonna end up being. Destiny has not shown up yet. All the signs of a misled life, the teeth still white. Come on, man. They still in their mouth. The eyes, they're probably the only thing, but we all drinking and smoking, so red eyes. So they ain't got to the point where it's yellow yet when they sober. It's a lot of stuff you don't see yet. They probably ain't start stealing from their parents yet. Like that. And whatnot. Ain't got kicked out the house yet. Whatnot. Ain't stabbed their best friend in the back and killed that nigga. Bam, bam, might have did it in your face. Some of y'all niggas know, female too. Done seen some of y'all friends kill another friend. And probably ain't said nothing yet. The folk probably don't even know yet. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. And come to find out, a lot of these niggas want to do is get high. But you got another type of nigga out there. He thinking about what grandmama and them talking about. The house going into foreclosure. He thinking about when he finally get to a certain point where he can't even, matter of fact, a lot of us, we wouldn't even get our first house in our name. Probably not the third, fourth. We smart enough to put shit in people's name we can more likely get something out of. down the line, if we went to prison or something about 5 years, 8 years, we come home, where you gonna go now? Because certain crimes, everything you own, if you can't show and prove how you got that legally, they probably take that shit and say this is proceeds from ... So we were smart enough to know, put something in somebody's name. Most shit, when you that young, most shit is somebody's name who been working for X amount of years, 10, 20, 30 years, 15 years, shit like that. Okay? You get you a little something. With your name on it. And if you're smart, if they come kick that door in, ain't any much slingshot in that shit. Ain't enough reefer to roll a joint in a white boy paper. Probably some alcohol, some tobacco. What do you call it? Alcohol, tobacco, and no firearm. A slingshot, probably not even BB gun, depending on what your record look like. A slingshot, might be an old rusty machete or something like that, butter knife in there, right? Butcher knife, some meat in the refrigerator. I have a butcher knife, right? some bologna, some aquaman in the refrigerator, the butcher knife in there, a fork, spoon, shit like that. Mayonnaise jar. Drinking Kool-Aid out the mayonnaise jar, right? And my nigga, you know what I'm saying? And that's it. But such and such got a house, such and such got a car, a house. Might brought a plot of land or something through such and such name. Cause they ain't doing all the shit you doing. But you can't get a pair of goddamn shoestring fucking with these niggas. And the cracker stay on your back. Like they say, the crow be on that goddamn eagle. They're pecking at that motherfucker every time you look out the wire, every time you look around, the cracker, they pecking, they going through your pocket, you up and don't move, spread them. They fucking with these niggas. Every time it's on sight, every time they see you. And it ain't dawned on you yet that the clique you fuck with, not just niggas, not just black folk, not just inner city you, no, your clique, they study us. So a lot of times they be up on us before we even up on ourselves. Towers High, Druid Hill, Cedar Grove, all this shit, Shawty. Duh, Maze and all this shit. They know who fuck with who. So when I'm in such and such phase of this school, oh, they know such and such fuck with this, such and such, he fuck with this, oh, he fuck, and they looking at all that, oh, they know, oh, we got such and such across town, he dropped out of school in elementary, middle school, bro, he dropped it, oh, he had time, he ain't open campus, he ain't goddamn, we had that shit key roll and all that shit, and they know all that shit. Mr. Bartlett was in my face, faggot ass, French teeth of Mr. Bartlett. He became administrator, sis ass, up there, asking me, grilling me about why I'm hanging with Randolph White. Randolph done went to the school, from after school, some shit. I'm in the car, we work together, we in the same job, we got the same job. But he had to stop by there, he in some after school program, boom, we take off. He drive, Randolph got that Buick. 83, I think that 83 powder blue. That powder blue and white. He sis ass Mr. Bartlett. He used to be my French teacher at Columbia High School. Now he had got them either Gordon or Walker. I don't think they turned to McNair yet. Or they might have just turned to McNair senior in elementary, senior junior. Right? McNair senior junior, but it used to be Gordon and Walker. We was there. They were there. I ain't go there. They were there when it was Gordon and Walker, but maybe before they graduated, it turned to senior junior. McNair. They might as well anyway, because niggas used to skip school from Gordon and go to Walker. Niggas skip school from Walker to Gordon. Just to laugh and talk shit. Darren Fears ain't too long graduated from Columbia. Just to laugh and talk shit. That's it. Chris Tucker, he ain't too long graduated. I ain't know what the other nigga Chris Rock. I ain't know Chris Rock was from Decatur, Atlanta, Decatur. I ain't even know that for a long time. They say he was from there. Just to goddamn laugh and talk shit, and of course, get at them chicks, right? Just to laugh and talk shit. So what they did, they turned that shit in the middle and senior, my nigga. So I'm going to Columbia State, Columbia. We had elementary though. We had been had elementary. Been had elementary. Me and Scooby done went to Columbia Elementary. Nard, Scooby, some more niggas, right? Might be Tay-Tay, them might have went, right? And so that was an example how Mr. Bartley on my case about why am I hanging with Randolph. Because see, the thing, why he really on my case, he know my grade should have been better. I'm in like the 11th to 12th grade now. So he know from like the 8th grade on to the 12th grade, my grade should have been better. And when the 12th grade hit, I'm gonna make a 9, I'm supposed to make 1,000. Because the judges had a choice, either give me that little half point or not. They held it back. I think they looked at my grade, so they held it back. So I made a 990 on the SAT. So by the time when that shit came around, by all them, Miss Reavers and all them, Miss Trimble and all, they know they nothing, nigga, get your shit together. You about out of here. But if you go to college, I went through the thing with the counselor stuff, so they know he planned on going to college. They like, boy, when this nigga go to college, he finna go to West Georgia. He better goddamn tighten the fuck up, cause they know. They know. So Mr. Bartley, he like that. He like, man, nigga. Don't you know Randolph type, man, get your faggot ass out my motherfucking business, man. They one of the rawest niggas I know in the whole goddamn state, nigga. And we run together, nigga. Boy, I'm telling you, me and this nigga seen so much shit together. He seen more than me cause the older nigga fuck with him first. And more often. And he skipping school. So he seen more. But I seen enough to know. But first of all, I heard first. And by the time I heard, yeah, I'm trying to make sure I'm saying it right, in the right order. By the time I heard, I know already. I know who Time Magazine, Life Magazine, New Idea, New Solution, that's the Journal of Constitution. They calling him the leader. That by now, no, not yet. In the beginning, not yet. He about to become my brother-in-law. Not Mackey. My niece made him my brother-in-law. That ain't happened yet. Timothy Peanut Harris, all that shit gonna happen. That's when they gonna get in Time Magazine, Life Magazine, New Idea, New Solution, that's the Journal of Constitution. 11 Alive, Shawty, China 46, China 2, I think. Shit like that, player. Might be China CIX, China 6. We might got a 6 up there, I forget. CIX, I think we got a 6. I ain't sure about that. We should have a 5. I think we got a 5. We got 11 Alive, we had China 46. If I remember correctly. Ted Turner Broadcasting used to be China 17, I think. My nigga. So, they claim Mike was the leader of Down by Law. Then we ain't used to say all that before them crackers started saying, we just said Down by Law. But we knew Mike was fucking, we knew Mike was basically down by being fucking with him, right? And they hit Project Said brought to my attention. They were concentrated in the meadow. But we know Mike all over Atlanta. Mike all over Atlanta, all over Decatur, all Smyrna, motherfucker, all got them done with it, all kind of Marietta, he all over them got their place. But now, the crackers started calling him the leader. Before that shit happened. During that time, when they hit Time Magazine, but Timothy Peanut Harris wanted, he either got killed or did the killing. I forget. Somebody died. Timothy Peanut Harris was the principal man in that case. He either died at the hands of Down by Law, or he the Down by Law nigga that killed the person that did die. Timothy Peanut Harris, that was the only main 2 names they talked about. The deceased, the one that did the killing, pulling the trigger, and Mike Murphy was the leader. And right then, when Mike, that about the end of Mike's career, as far as, cause it's like he was too hot. So he had to stop a lot of shit he wouldn't do. Cause Mike was like, fuck that shit, I'm about my freedom. If nothing else, I'm about my freedom. So Mike will go to jail about shit that don't hold you forever. For sure. So he stopped a lot of shit, and he paranoid like a mother. He know they watching him. I understand that. But what happened was, I seen enough back then, because this shit happened around the time where now we used to fight around that same time, matter of fact, because we wasn't even shooting like that yet. Even then, that was like a 25 or something, that shit, 22, some shit like that, 38, 44. So we still doing this all around the country. Now California, that game making over there, they probably done started. But everybody else, we doing this here. You might get a knife come out, a few of them. Most time when the gun came out, it was like this. Bah, 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 bah. Niggas scatter. The other side probably don't even return fire. Don't even shoot up, don't even shoot at nothing. Just everybody just scatter. One of the G's on one side did this. He was ready to go home. Shit. And that used to work. Right? And if you heard, but most of the time we knew what it was, we heard it. When you heard a 44 or 45, sometimes it was hard to tell a 38 from a 44. How loud that motherfucker is. But if you seen it, you know a 38 snub know from a 44, 45, especially them long barrel. Clint Eastwood, yeah. So now, that was like the main, in a sawed-off, in a shotgun. Now that was the AK of back in the day. Pop them buckshot, especially. That's like a clip from an automatic rifle. As far as I get a certain amount of feet up on the motherfucker. And when I let that go, everybody when that shit do this, them buckshot, everybody getting hit. Yeah, unless you got them other, and then don't nobody know what's in that shit, but you got the slug too, don't you? You ain't got just buckshot. I think you got that slug too. That money just one shot come out that jar too. I forgot. I ain't fucked around with them shotguns in a while. But you definitely had the buckshots. Then they start doing hollow points more often in the automatic. So you can put a hollow point in a revolver. The automatic with a magazine capacity, oh Lord, nigga doing that, nigga trying to kill somebody. Like, yeah, man, these niggas serious. And then after that, the Uzi and the AKs. And this coming in with the crack era, because a lot of it come from the Don Diva magazine. See, I seen this and knew this. But Don Diva magazine go around the whole country with this shit. It's Cavario them. They say, man, it was like this. I seen this shit. A lot of the gangsters, first of all, they already had a record. More likely they're gonna have a record with a lot of felony. Car theft, burglary, probably some robbery. Now, you got this felonious record, and the judge done already told, if I see you again, da-da-da. So now when the crack come out, when they talk about that 1 to 100 ratio, or 1 to 100 to 500, 1 to 100 ratio, mostly were like, no, it ain't no. A rock, personal usage. If you tell a police, well, I smoke. You ain't even been to jail yet. He see you on the street, just went to your pocket, he caught you, and he come out your pocket, what's this? Hey, he got great. Oh yeah, I smoke. He might not even take you to jail. He'll probably keep that rock. He probably take you to jail, just one rock. So a lot of gangsters who would smoke the shit was smoking it, for sure, but they wouldn't sell it. Because that's the nigga gonna get a gang of time. Because most nigga who's selling it ain't playing. They trying to make money. That the heroin used to get you, and the good cocaine, when you had the good cocaine connection, they trying to get that type of money out of crack. So you gonna find them with the shit that gonna get their, depending on where you at, gonna get their ass locked up for a long time. Most of the game bangers want with it. First of all, they record. A lot don't want it to, but they record would make it like, man, fuck that shit. So what them type, what they would do, if they really want to, they'll have less on them at a time. And they'll probably sell on it so much and get out of there. $50, stop. Wait a long time before they go to try to make another $50 or $100 and stop, shit like that. A lot of niggas who didn't have that long history and all that, but nigga might not go home. Nigga have 1,000 upon 1,000. And I was talking about that beta male and all that connect back to that. A lot of time that alpha male, a lot of them was them game buggers out, they got them records and shit like that. And a lot of them got hooked on that crack anyway. A lot of see if you get hooked on it, you can't even do that anyway. It ain't about jail, it's about you can't even hold a rock long enough to make a sale. Put that money in your pocket. Wait, somebody might want 3. How many times? 3 times. Okay, 3. Hey, shit, I'm trying to come out. I gotta re-up, man. I gotta pay some bills. I gotta buy some pamp. No. One juicy rock. That nigga plotting already. Nigga trying to find where he can go, sit there, and do whatever he gonna do with straight shooter, a geek cigarette, primo, or sprinkle down. We call that shit sprinkle down, geek, or geek joint. In Atlanta, we call it geek, G-E-E-K. Right? Some nigga call it sprinkle down, but everybody call it geek. They can't see past one rock. And you had some niggas who used to serve and used to boom and fuck around and try that shit. To the point, the only thing they got left probably the gold in their mouth. Then they got a chance to drop some gold in their mouth. I'm talking about gold, nigga had to start getting grilled. Cause in the early 80s and the 70s, shit, nigga had one wine glass, some shit like that. But niggas started dropping 4 to the top, 4 to the bottom, wolf pack be everything you can see. Might go back there, gold shit like that with diamonds and all that shit. Niggas start doing that shit, right? Weighing chunk. There ain't no crackhead doing it. Real gold. Any given time, he's either own them or at the crib. Safe deposit, bought something like gold, piece about this big, right? And you might have, boom, stop here, this big, stop right here about this big, stop down here about this big. Then a lot of little ones up here. Shit all right here. Yeah, Miami, the female used to have bangles from here about that long. Can you see that? Bangle from here to about right here. It might have something else up here on both arms. Sometimes the bangle might be shorter and they can put more bangles. Boom, boom, then one long one here. Right? Gold all here, all up in here. Them females wearing them bangles, anklets and all that, right? And all that had to stop if you was on crack. If you was on crack and your nigga had the dope, money and all that to support your habit where you don't look like you on crack, he go to jail, get killed or something, oh Lord. And that thing you know, selling it. Before you know it, selling head, selling pussy. Couldn't be touched. We talking about untouchable, unknockable female. A nigga go down, go to jail, get killed. That's why it's a lot of bitter wars that lasted for years in these streets because FNs, sissy behind Negroes, played all up on the people and ran down to that courthouse and told all their business. And a lot of shit went to ruins. And they let foreign people who can launder money easier and come with enough money to buy off the motherfucker downtown the courthouse. That's the people who doing it. The courthouse people. They doing the auditing type of things and this and that and that. And they the one who got to sit in that final submission of the how you say, federal level was to make all the stuff come down, FBI, Then you pay enough of them people, they don't nobody know who you is in the courthouse. In the newspaper, and all know the news, and police precinct, don't nobody even know who you is. Meantime, the average nigga in the hood who trying to get some money because they won't let you work and get it. Y'all already know about Tulsa, Oklahoma, Lake Lanier, Oscarville, Rosewood, Florida, those type of places. You know about that. They won't let you get it the right way. The minute you start pooling resources and putting together and really do it, that's why we talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma, stuff like that a lot. Because you can't get no better than that. In modern times, this on a modern scale of post office, you know, the shoe man and everything black. The milkman, everything. The grocery, the theater, all that there. With a black dollar circulating in the black community, quote unquote. Moorish, we're Moorish City at right now. Moorish County, right now. All that shit y'all be talking online. Where's the thriving, bustling community with your Moorish status? Claim you ain't got to pay no light bill, no water bill, because Bill, Bay, L, and yeah. Where is the bustling, thriving community where your children are safe from kidnapping, human trafficking, child molestation? Homeschooling ain't, we ain't, fuck that. Where is that bustling village, that community, that Quilombo, where that's at? Ceuta, Grenada, type of thing. Where the fortress at? Where the fort? Where the palaces? Yeah, all that shit still in the hand of the colonists and the dirty Moors from the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. Masonic order, Jesuit, Knights of Malta. Y'all gotta stop that. Active Moors, more active. More than likely, if you are active, more active, whether or not you know who you are more or not. You still thinking Trinitarian Christianity, black, African American. What they saying now? FBA. Or some shit. They don't even say black American. What I don't know the F stand for. The only woman said, now, player. They didn't stop hanging and killing chiefs and whatnot back in the 1800s, early 1900s. A lot of this stuff been happening since, definitely in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, was exactly just that. When you hear about somebody like Freeway Rick Ross, the reason why they probably even approached him and turned him on at that college university, because they had done researched his family line and knew who he was by lineage. So they set him up like that. And you gonna blame Freeway Rick Ross, one of the most humblest kingpins ever. When that nigga, before he went down, you see footage of him, you wouldn't even know he had that money and that power. And he was doing community-based things like making sure the children had a center to go to learn and do sports and not come down with diabetes and not fail out of school and all. He was doing the best he could with the little bit they gave him in school and church and all that. You can't blame people for not knowing what was systematically held away from them. And sometimes you talking about at the knife point, at gun point, certain people, they life on the line, which would be his grandfather, uncles and stuff like that. They probably in the Masonic order. They know they life on the line if they say certain things before he swear into the Masonic order. And you get into that a lot of time, they say the secret is in a secret society, but a lot of times they don't reveal the secret in the Prince Hall Mason. You got the 33 degrees. If you go through all them, you still ain't really touched the moral science. Definitely ain't got it to the Adam chamber. They might give you the basic. They might say something to you, but it's a lot that they didn't tell even Masons. And a lot of people don't even get past a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 5th degree. Because why? They see the problem with the Masonic order is not meant to do what it's meant to do. And like Grand Sheikh says, all right, if it is what they say it is, go into the surrounding community and look at that. The condition of the surrounding community is the fault lies with the church and the Masonic Hall and the Shriners and the school system. Our universities and whatnot built the society, the Tartary, the Barbary, all that stuff. People like Arcida Ducatiers really go in and really share with you. Really go in detail about how things were ran before colonization. That's what universities do. When they show you about the mercury, I still like to show you that globe. It's a globe. That shit can power 2-3 counties. And it's like a some type of person with some type of status and whatever. That he got that, sitting on the throne or dais or whatever, and he got that. So FPL and all this job we depending on, the phone and all that, it's cool. African Americans invented most of it, but that was after the fall of the original empires. Chief Rod got a recent one, I think, on Young LTV. I think it was Young Elder. It's a recent one. If I find it, if I remember to look for it and find it, I'm gonna share it in my Facebook page, Jamil Mackey, my new Facebook page. On my Facebook page, I think my profile picture is Kobe Bryant and Gabby on that house on like 35th Street by Clemente Park. And I got the Kobe Bryant jersey on. And Gabby and Kobe on that spray painted graffiti on the house. I think that's my Facebook profile photo. My old one is me standing in the Hard Rock in a 3-piece suit with that leopard motif. That's the old one. That should be the old profile picture. Yeah, and my old IG is me with the slanted hat, with the purple and white button up. That's about all you can see. I might have a vest on with it. That's about all you can see on that picture. That was out there in Los Olas, I took that picture. I think that's my old IG. My new IG, I'm at the bar. At that place right there. I'm at their bar, their first bar, when you first walk in the front door. On the new IG, the current, but I got access to that. You can talk to me on that. You can't talk to me on my old Facebook. You can't talk to me on my own, even know my old Snapchat still up there, right? A white Hispanic male, that was the description they gave. A white Hispanic male stole my phone. You don't find phones that don't belong to you. Tell me you find a phone with all type of people around. That could have been anybody's phone. So either they said, no, that's not mine, or they told you, yes, it is mine. So somebody lied to the one that found it first, or the one found it first, no, he ain't find shit, you stealing it because your ass ain't wait a minute, just because you know good and damn well a phone, in a quick second, somebody gonna come back and looking crazy, hey, trying to figure out where it's at. On foot, on a bike or something like that, on a skateboard or something like that. I just had, because people stay checking their phones. So once you lose it, it ain't gonna be too long before you find out, you know that shit wasn't yours. And they said it was a white Hispanic male. And they thought that shit was funny as hell. I don't know who the fuck did it. It was a lot of people there that day that knew that happened before I even announced it to anybody, because I ain't tell nobody shit. I went to the Lost and Found at the park at Young Circle. In the office in there, ain't nobody in there but me and that lady. Security light lady, she the one told me there ain't no cameras. I was surprised about that. Ain't no cameras on that park at Young Circle. And I, before I even went to Publix and asked them, I ain't even going to Publix yet. Because I said, well, look for it first. It might be still on the ground. I was looking all over the park, everywhere I've been at. I'm looking. Somebody either picked it up and got the fuck on. But one thing I know, whoever found it, they told people they found it. Because I know what I saw about the people, all the people that was there, and got to the point they basically was what's the word for that? Taunting me. Because too many of them had a phone that looked a lot like mine, the same size, length and width, with a black, I had an OtterBox on mine with a black cover. And the phone was black. So anybody had something about that size and looked like that with a black, they had that shit shaking like tambourines and shit. It was a lot of them. And it's like, I pinned it right away. I was like, okay, they want me to go up to them and grab it and be like, check it and see if it's mine. And they had just came out with a law that says it's a felony now to go into somebody else's phone, no matter who they could be your child. But now it's a felony to unauthorized going to somebody's phone, for one. Plus what I did to get it, probably that'd be considered like, how you say, strong arm robbery. Then you got the violent assault, because we might push each other. So all that gonna be on me. And then I got at least, from what I remember, man, probably 10 people, at least. Might be a little less, like 6 or 7. But it seemed like, from what, because I remember when it got to the point, I never really looked nobody in the face and said shit, except for one dude at the top of the hill. One dude I asked, you seen the photo? He said, no. And I got the fuck on. That's the top of the hill. Right? Ain't nobody said nothing to him about it. He ain't see it himself. I got the fuck on. But on the bottom, it was a lot of light skin, like yellow light, look like they might be goddamn what you call Caucasian or white looking Hispanic and whatnot. Iranian and all these different nationality people that look be real light skin with a straight hair and all that. That were most were right with them phones doing. I ain't see no dark skin, somebody you consider be a Haitian or Black American, something like that. All of them was light skin, look like they from a foreign language speaking country. Maybe French, Yiddish speaking and all that kind of shit. Or their parents is, or whatever they were. The fuck they is Spanish. Right? And I saw it, I said, well, they got to know who really got it to be fucking with me like this. Cause they want me to be like, hey, that's my phone. And like I say, it was a bullying, taunting like thing, like, yeah, your phone missing, now find it. When nobody out there was told from me or that lady, and they're the only person I told, that motherfucker, they know who got it. See, these motherfuckers know who got it. Now, on the heels of that, Ryan Wedding had a $15 million bond placed on his head. The Alexander brothers, I think, Oren in them, Manhattan, DA, indictment on the Alexander brothers. They connect to the Epstein case. Ryan Weddings connect. See, they didn't see that little petty shit. While you bullshitting, most of you motherfuckers, on the heels of that, a lot of companies had to shut down. Cause they ain't number shell company, money laundering company. So the money you had, cause a lot of these ain't no bums and crackheads. These people who live in the area, if you know Young Circle by Federal, in Hollywood Boulevard, in Broward, by the Bulldogs, Broward High, not too far up the street. Now, if you know that area, it's mansions and shit around, condos and shit, and nice old houses. And a lot of the people that's a little poor and stuff, they gentrified out the neighborhood, so it's money coming in there, and what used to be poor and not getting fixed up and all that. So these are privileged motherfucking youngsters. Yeah. And a lot of that privilege come from because your parent ain't nothing but a front man and whatnot, or hired by front men and women to work for shell companies that are really money laundering companies. And it just so happened the real artist was coming down. And heavier, bigger indictments would carry stiffer charges. With bigger criminals were coming down. Every time you get the big boy, a lot of people fall with that. Like Paul Bunyan wasn't chopping down those saplings. Paul Bunyan, trees would grow thousands of feet in the air. And the girth of one tree sometime might take up your whole fucking neighborhood, right? For a block or two in each direction. See, Paul Bunyan was taking down some. So when you take down a big motherfucker like that, now Hurricane Helene had not too long hit because I used my phone to make Hurricane Helene mix Swamp Phone DJs. So it had to be after that. And the last post is an October something post when he act like he was me, if it wasn't a she, and said something about I'm a pervert and bitches hit me up and da-da-da. That was the last post. They went into all my social media accounts, my email, my CASHAPP, all that. I couldn't get access to none of my shit. It was funny, right? The white was one of the last people I talked to in the family bloodline. That was funny. And on the heels of that, Ryan Wedding, the Alexander brother, a whole lot of motherfuckers got knocked off on the waters, bringing drugs over here. See. And then down the line, the insurance on homes tripled in South Florida. The cost of insurance on homes tripled And a lot of insurance companies had already pulled out of South Florida, wouldn't even insure you. And the ones that were still in South Florida rated triple. And if you was a part of a condo association, a lot of time the assessment fee was sky high. And then what they started to find out is that treasurer person in the condo association who was holding out that money that come like at the monthly payment, some of that is allotted toward improvements and whatnot. And they said, we got assessment coming up, and you know, sometimes the code inspector, they start coming out, crawling out from under they rock. And this time they come back with real assessments, the code enforcement. They say, well, y'all got some problems on the building. Yeah, y'all got to fix this. They say, yeah, oh really? So we never had these problems. I said, yeah, you do now. And they went to the man, the treasurer, whatever, and they come to find out the money been gone. The nigga stole it, snorted it up, smoking crack. These rich crackers, affluent, money. And they got to have quite a bit of money because the middle class was dissolved in Obama goddamn administration. These bitches the one with the money. Now they shit falling apart. Right on the heels of them fucking with my goddamn phone. Now, Hurricane Helene, when I still had the phone, as a matter of fact, because that insurance shit was going on. Hurricane Helene, I looked at the news and they showed like a traffic jam on like 95 or 75 and shit like that. And they was like, these people, contrary to what you may think, are not fleeing Hurricane Helene. They are leaving because they can afford to stay in South. And there was a lot of people. Bumper to bumper, all you see is headlights and taillights. Now, if that ain't enough, then this going, because it never abated. It's still like that now. With the home insurance. And soon what's going to happen, people going to start dropping the price of their home, trying to sell it. Get the cash and run. Don't nobody want to buy it. Because they know they going to come into the same situation you trying to run from. So now, down the line, if that ain't bad enough, ice, baby. Too cold. Y'all fucking with Pimpin' Ice Brown like that at the damnest time. Ice. It's real fucked up, man, to be in another man's house, man, treating a man like that. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of motherfuckers at that goddamn park did look like at least their parents or grandparents had just got over here, and that's why they there. People on visas or might be American citizen, but their parents probably ain't, or had to work or do something for a while to get the citizenship. Shit like that. I saw a lot of that out there. A lot of that. From dark skin down to light. I'm talking, I seen about 1 or 2 niggas I thought was African American, quote unquote. The rest of them like probably Haitian or da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And don't you know that same park? One Hispanic looking lady, I said, could you make a call? No, could you call my phone for me? Cause a part of that park, it got bushes and it got mulch at the bottom, and it's concrete, a wall or something, and you know it's a space. It could have fell out my pocket and fell down in there. So well, maybe I know some spots where that could be the case. And she rolled her eyes at me, ignored me, and now her phone conversation got to be that much more important. She was on the phone, but she rolled her eyes at me. Damn, I ain't never seen that many people act like that when the item get lost. That most people, once you get a certain age, you automatically assume somebody might have stole that motherfucker. So usually the protocol is, well, you know the number, we can call it. And everybody else looking around and trying to see if they see it and call the phone and might start ringing. That's your ring? It's coming out this pocket or out the bushes over there. No, she rolled her eyes and damn. Now this the first day I realized that many people in that area don't like me. And I was over there over a year because I used to stay over there about a year. But that time is up, I think, and now I'm just still in the area. Because I done got to know the area real well. And I'm sick and tired of Miami. Metro-Dade and City of Miami police. I'm sick and tired of them by now. So Miami Garden and all that shit, I go cross county line, fuck y'all. Deal with Broward. I didn't know that many people in Hollywood, Florida, dislike me. That's when I found out. I didn't know they noticed me like that, because I used to go to the grocery store, maybe a gas station, that's it. And sometimes an occasional restaurant here and there, and that's it. On that side of Hollywood, right up there, I ain't fuck around, nothing. Right? Socialize maybe in the line, at the lotto line or something. The grocery store line or something like that. And most gamblers be some real hustlers, real players and shit. So we got a thing about ourselves. We real player. We got class and shit like that. So the gambling line be real cool to meet somebody. We talking, chopping up for a minute, and everybody go back, get their tickets and go back their way. Most of the squares and shit in there doing square shit. Right? That's when you start seeing them players in that goddamn lotto line. So I'm steady around some players and shit. I'll be around those lames and squares and player haters and fuck shit like that. So I'm really surprised. And I'm like, from my experience of losing a phone and how people act when that happened, this is like night and day. I'm really, I see, and this showed me how much they don't like me. I'm like, damn. But like I say, a lot of them people were either born in another country, their parents were, or their grandparents. You can look at them and tell. Most of that shit lame as fuck, Shawty. I'm gonna tell you like that. What come for an African American, when we say lame, is certain shit, player. You got to be a motherfucker grew up with us to not know. I mean, no, you got to be a motherfucker grew up with us to know how to not to stand out. And sometimes they can't, because they ain't even much trying that hard, because they not ashamed. The fact, well, hell, I'm from Cuba, I'm from this, but they cool as fuck, and they ain't lame. They just a Cuban or a Haitian or something like that, but they grew up with us. The ones who like tend to have Americanized way, westernized, Americanized way, North America. They still have something about them, like the way they talk, maybe a certain thing with the clothing in the car. But they like that. They cool, and we love them. We know them. We love them. But see, outside of that, so you got an African-American lame, then you got a foreign bitch that's a fucking lame. And a lot of your family members dead as a motherfucking doorknob, bitch, because from 1993 on back, most definitely, nigga, we probably killed your motherfucking ass coming from the airport, bitch. Get caught out there slipping, bitch, some goddamn well, asking for direction or something. Call me to the car, yes, and funk on your fuck ass, bitch. And the only goddamn reason I don't do that shit is because when I got here in 93, to live all year round, all 4 seasons, that's when they put that shit on the news. Smash and grab for the jewelry stores and shit down there, all jewelers. And snatching purses and shit. And killing tourists. When I came to live. When the feds and shit like that, CIA and FBI up there, can whisper down and say, brief them. Catherine Fernandez Rundle, the goddamn state legislature and all that, whatever faggot dick sucker was up there as a governor that year. They got together, had a conference, they took some old ancient ass bullshit and started talking about it like it's new. Cause I'm here. Bad Seed / that explicit entertainment. ShawtyRed, Shawty Pimp, Red Dawn, Ice Brown, Pimpin' Ice Brown is here. If he anything like he was in Atlanta, we in trouble. Cause he ain't nothing but another one of these niggas right here. Player with a mind like this, bitch. Now, play with it. You go research the laws in Florida state statute from 93 and 4 on to now, nigga. And compare that from 92 on back, bitch ass niggas and hoes. I tell your ass about when the Cuban Marial and all that happened. Before that, Batista party and all that got kicked out of Cuba by Raul and Fidel. That first wave was more affluent from Cuba. Before the Mariel, like the movie Scarface, that was the poor ones and shit. Coming out the sane asylums in the jail. When them rich ones came here, they came first. Nigga was tearing a new asshole. One time, goddamn, some niggas died. That was down the line. When they got Santana ass, niggas walking around weighing his shit. They ain't even milk that shit down. Some of that shit got his name on it. Nigga, fuck that cracker. So before you get in your mind, you ain't about that life, like y'all saying now, you better think twice before you fuck with some of these niggas. Denard Isaiah Bonds, nigga, just went off. Before 24 hours passed. After sundown, before the sun came up, that nigga knocked the nigga off in Miami Gardens, North Miami, went to Brevard County. From Dade County with the cocoa and knocked the nigga off, got 3. After sundown, before sun came up, keep playing. Active MOORS, more active. Faggots.